stage prize pool, which is 70K for first place, 500K total in the region, 250K rather for the whole region. And right now, we have an Emma ban first, met by the Psylocke ban. So Envy already going for those targeted bans towards Speedily.
Interesting. So, you know, we've seen a ton of Emma bans, one of the most banned across
towards Flyquest.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Envy banning out there the Psylocke. I think we're going to get a little more targeted here, which is unique, right? We talk about very consistent bans, but we're already seeing a big change. It seems day in and day out, there's a new set of bans and what people identify. They're really locking in on each other, and they're starting to understand compositions and what they feel comfortable on. And they're doing their homework, and they're knocking that out as fast as possible, as we see a lock here probably for Emma on the side of Fly.
Yeah, I mean, the Emma lock is very easy for them, I think, at this point, with the fact that the Psylocke got banned first, or the Magneto, right? It depends on which team favors which, and you get to see early on for Envy which Vanguards, Flyquests really prefer. Second ban now available after the Ultron ban comes through, because we've seen how good Flyquest is around that Ultron composition. And same thing for Envy. Envy loves to play that Ultron. They do a great job with Nero playing a lot of that character, and then Wolverine has been a sort of prominent mainstay in North America. Flyquest, they're not going to be able to play that. Magneto ban comes to the other side, so neither Vanguard's available. Envy, though, I'm sure they've thought of this, right? I mean, I'm sure they know that Emma, they know that Magneto's going to get banned, and they're going to play something like like a whole cap or something along those lines, maybe a thing like we saw earlier.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot more thing. Obviously, Wolverine hasn't been banned out, so we might see that combination there, but I do think you're right. Like, we'll see something a little more unique, and they've done their homework, right? The Excel sheets for the coaches, we've heard a few times, are immense, right? They really do know what to do in every given situation. So I'm sure it is just, the comms are just, terrifying to listen in on as we progress to the final ban. They're locking in Strange here for the side of Envy, so they will be playing Doc over on this side. I'm excited to see those eyes.
Yeah, I wonder the Doctor Strange ban. I wonder if it was going to be a group. Or sorry, Protect. I wonder if the group was going to be a Doctor Strange ban or Protect or Doctor Strange ban, just because of the fact that, I don't know, we've heard, I mean, Doctor Strange is a great hero. We've talked about how good he is right now. And specifically, I think banning him out wouldn't be a bad idea either, but definitely Groot is another character that is super strong for Team Envy now. That probably puts them over to the cap alongside that Doctor Strange, unless they want to play that Hulk comp that we've seen earlier. Although, if I'm not mistaken, Chip, I don't think Envy's really played a lot of that Hulk. That's more been of a Flyquest staple in North America.
Yeah, I'm with you 1000%, but I do think Kaluge plays a mean Strange, which is definitely why they're locking that in early. Kaluge is one of the top Stranges, if not, the conversation for the number one Strange. Just has insane plays and is super confident on that hero. So definitely going to see that lock in as we press forward here. I am excited. If you don't know already, the way these break down is you start off with Domination, then you choose between the losing team, then chooses between Convoy or Convergence on whatever map and side they want. And then game 3 goes back down again to the final mode that has not been played for whatever map the losing team chooses from there. So we will begin here, and you can look at the predictions. Flyquest 67%, Envy at 33 as we begin this battle.
I mean, it makes a little bit of sense just because of how Flyquest was playing throughout the whole tournament, throughout the group stages, to make it as far as they did to win in their group and then just get absolutely destroyed by tech. Now it's just crazy. We also have cameras coming through. Kaluge in the vertical, looking like he's on TikTok right now. Envy walking up already with some space on the triple res competition, whereas Flyquest, Shiv, they're playing that Hulk Namor stuff alongside the Human Torch, because that character not banned for Flyquest alongside Cooper on the Loki. We know how good that guy is on the Loki.
We have Hulk here diving up on the high side. Very aggressive hero. Seen a lot more play in this tournament. We do see Adam go immediately. Star-Lord goes down, reses up. Speedery really good in that sky, but Hulk can do a decent job of dropping them out of the sky with that jump off cooldown. And here we go. Kalush holding this point down. Going to be using that left click, just trying to build some ult charge. Already at roughly 60%. It looks like Flyquest going to be just slightly ahead in ult advantage here, as the point is being swayed towards Envy. It's all about positioning now. They're dancing on this point, trying to buy some time. But will they give up the point in the initial take here? Up in the sky, we see Energy holding it down with Torch, incredibly strong right now. We have seen a ton of bans, and out immediately goes that Eternal Bond. That can get charged incredibly quickly. Fate of Both Worlds is going to match it. Out goes Emma, going to yell to Neil. The whale comes out. It does land on NK. Down goes 2 as Month falls as well, and immediately Flyquest are going to be up in numbers.
Yeah, but Envy's got those respawns. However, they're still not going to use them. Back off the map they go. Flyquest first team to take that point, right? That was the biggest thing. Flyquest got on that objective, forced away Team Envy, and it was difficult for Team Envy to really find any purchase, right? Just kind of surrounding the point, finding those first picks from Adios was massive, right? Able to do it early on, then with the whale, later on in the team fight. So right now, Team Envy on the back foot, having to come back through, though they do have ultimates ready to go. Zealous is also there. Meanwhile, early souping over from Envy over the high ground. That's a really well-timed ult from him.
Yeah. Oh, and out goes the eye. It finds a bunch. Can they collapse? Energy going to take out Month and follow up a little bit there, but on the opposite side is Fly. Takes that. Adios taking out NK. Two go down. Flyquest just winning these fights even through the Q Fest. And out goes the dance floor from Zealous to hold on. No ults available here. The side of Flyquest, Month is holding on to that res though, and that could be game winning. NK comes back with the res. You mentioned holding on to them. Now you're starting to see the value. Numbers are evened out even through those picks. It just goes to show you cannot count those out. You've got to keep your composure even when you think you're ahead in numbers. Out again goes the Bond, taking that space right back. Speedery onto Zelos, and again, Envy now has pressure, and they're taking this point, but 75% already for Flyquest is a massive start here for Team Fly.
Yeah, Cooper losing his counterpart or his teammate rather in Zelos. Big whale as well on the backside. Energy there to follow up on Speedily in the middle of all these Stratus ultimates from Team Envy. They have to set up the res now if they can't win this fight, right? They've used all their Stratus ultimates, however, so they're going to need to win this fight here and now, and they're actually going to do so. Great job with the Stratus ultimates, able to win off of it, though. Energy's finding a pick. It's not really enough, I think, for Flyquest at this point, although they're still alive and they're actually close to Zelos' ultimate.
Yeah, roughly even on the trade here. Envy just trying to get back on that point, 99%, as they are holding on. Energy takes out Nero. Down goes Kaluge as well. Flyquest still finding value through the situation. Up heavy in numbers here, holding on. And Energy up in the sky, just a menace. Here comes the teleport. Will it be enough, or will they hold them down? The portal is out. Can they touch? They do not. Flyquest on the first map.
Might have called that too early. I just can't believe how Zelos stayed alive there. I mean, what a play from him and then his team and Adios to kind of control around that objective. Unfortunately, it looked like Envy just sort of collapsed around the points once all their shredded ultimates ran out. It seemed like their game plan was just kind of, you know, hopefully you win. And unfortunately, right now, for how Flyquest is playing, it was tough for Kaluge to find anything there. Right on that Dr. Strange, wasn't getting any healing, was pushing out Zelos, got him so low. Adios also at 1 HP, able to get that final blow, able to get that elimination. And right now, Flyquest look awesome. I mean, Zelos kept that team fight alive, didn't even have Shredder's ultimates, played hard around their abilities, right? We've seen the daggers, the storm daggers, right? That aura ability just to play around that inside that health pack side area. So right now, how Flyquest is playing around the strategist is absolute peak.
Yeah, we've talked about how that ability is, you know, it's 55 HP per second. For those who don't know, that blue dome that gets thrown down there by Dagger, from Cloak and Dagger, it's actually like it's a really good mitigation to help shut down ultimates. One of the things we need to discuss, it's so difficult. You see Month there holding on to that Warlock res. It's so difficult to find value. Although it can be game winning, it's also a terrifying ability to use because it can force stagger your entire team. So holding on to that still, Kaluge has ult advantage, going to be on the side of Envy as we start up our first fight.
Yeah, right now Envy trying to take the space on Flyquest, understanding that the Namor is going to be, you know, a force to be reckoned with on the backside alongside the Torch, right? That spam comes through. Eventually, the Torch can kind of come through and slam down your backline. Meanwhile, you also want to set up Month on his res and maybe set up a Stratus ultimate alongside it. Kaluge also, in the meanwhile, going to constantly look for this Eye of Agamotto speedily early ultimate committed by him.
Yeah, crystals are going to be popped out. Just buy some time here for the side of Fly. Good work there by Cooper. And we do see the Eternal Bond out too. Ult advantage heavily on the side of Envy, though. They've got to make some stuff happen here. Get this point back and swing the momentum, which we know how important momentum is. Kaluge finding a few with that eye. Can they get a pick? Not quite yet. The whale goes out. Doesn't find value. It lands. And down go 3. Incredible work there for the side of Adios. And make that 4 as they clean up. And they should be able to get this point here.
Yeah, excellent split, right? Only allowing one of their teammates in terms of energy to fall in that fight. Energy did get connected on by the Eye of Agamotto, but the peel came through from Adios, understanding the situation. That was a hand toss in the Horn of Proteus towards that Eye of Agamotto from Kaluge. Able to find everybody else running towards the Envy, towards the Eye of Agamotto. And right now, I mean, Envy's sort of a little bit lost. They're swapping NK now over to the Punisher alongside speedily on that Human Torch. They're giving up entirely on that triple Strategist composition, moving on to something a little bit more standard.
Yeah, I think a change was necessary. I like that. I think you can't just keep running the same thing if it ain't working for you. I mean, you talk about Adios with that whale. That was disgusting. It really set up a 4-piece there for the team to press in. Now their spawn door holding them here. Going to be throwing a ton of Qs out, just trying to buy time on this point as much as possible. Your goal is to try to get a ton as we see Window fall. Down goes NK as well. Nice pressure there. Trying to find a third. Good idea to tries to get the XL. Doesn't work, but they find Month, who is going to stagger. They might wait this out a little bit. Just trying to, you know, free time here. No reason to force that KO too early, as they do have 50 50% on the point and ult advantage in this next fight. Flyquest, and they're home on the bottom side of the bracket.
And I was talking to Got Moxie over a color caster over in the EMEA region, talking about how strong Loki is. And Loki is incredibly strong, but, you know, it's only strong if you have a player that's super good at Loki. And for Flyquest to get Loki on Cooper, his best hero that he plays, I mean, it's an absolute blessing in disguise because NB do not have a Loki on their side.
Yeah, those crystals are insane for shutting down ultimate. Such a good ability, and that's why you see so many Loki bans. Out goes the whale again from downtown. Does it find more value? Good defensive ult there. Well done by Window to clean that up. Great ult there again, as we see more from Kalush. They're finally able to find a little more value from that NK trying to press out here. We will see that final judgment very soon here. And then Hulk gets knocked back into Bruce form. We see out goes the Eternal Bond to try to, you know, just force this into a little bit more of a slow fight. 91% on, though. NB pressing Q everywhere. Can they find some picks? Pressing in heavy now. Whole team needs to make sure they get on point. They do touch here. 98%, but it's that 99. First fight from Fly holding it on to this point is insane. Energy with great positioning. Adios just trying to get that alt charge up as he's sitting at roughly 85. We do have Emma ready for Vest. Will Vest find more value? Vest, a mean Vanguard here, is trying to buy time off this point. Still ticking down that OT, and out goes one of the more defensive ultimates from the Vanguards, excuse me, as the Freedom Charge is out for Cap. Out again goes the Psionic Seduction from Vest. Will it get much? No, great positioning there for the side of Fly, or excuse me, from Envy. We're able to hold on, and at this point, it looks like Envy will get the point and hold on. Great work to not panic in that situation.
Yeah, that took a long time, and you know, actually the coach of Flyquest, he was the one that mentioned how you don't really want to judge teams too harshly on domination as the first map of the series. Also, not a huge time bank in domination compared to maps like Aegis Path, compared to, you know, Convoy and Convergence. So, I mean, domination, a tough map to play, and Team Envy now in control of the point. They could reverse sweep it here on the second round, which Flyquest are looking to close out.
Yeah, and here we go again. Alt advantage roughly even, slightly in the favor of Fly. Out goes the Tornado. Do they get value out of the back line? We do see the invisible boundary up the counter a little bit. Nobody finding anything just yet. No purchase on these abilities. Cooldowns being used. Flyquest still slightly up in alt charge, but not by much. The whale goes out. Still nobody falls. Great dance floor there. Matched right back from Speedery, who is going to try to get more value out of the Supernova. Still no one as the Eye of Agamotto gets popped. Will anybody get a pick here, or is everybody going to turn this into a neutral? There we go as NK takes out Energy. Odds are now in the favor of, oh, Envy. Psych, I lied. It's evened out now. Vest finding NK, and that's a great pick as trying to build up that Emma charge. Remember, once you get to 100, it is double damage on that laser, and they're finding more with the Sonic Seduction. Cap in a dangerous spot here. Gonna punt him into the wall. Ton of damage there. Speedery on Audio. Spark Chief on a window. Traded again, but it's now 72% for Envy on point.
I mean, they're building it up right now. Speedery's popping off. Also, first thing in my head, I didn't realize NK was in the lobby. I mean, we usually see Cal, so that was interesting, the fact that we're seeing NK play yet again. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen him. And right now in the Punisher, creating a ton of space for Speedery, right? Popping that final judgment in the middle of the fights. Maybe not finding any total eliminations, but creating so much room for Speedery right now, who has that Luna Snow idol. He's been the hard pocket right now. 95% on the board. Envy could do it.
Yeah, I mean, here comes the portal touch. It needs to happen. They will get the touch, and it's all about this next fight. Ult advantage just slightly for Window. That ult finds a ton of value in OT like this. It's essentially another strategist ultimate. If your team dances in, remember, you got to stay inside the path of Cap if you want that overshield. A lot of people don't quite understand that, especially as you're climbing the lower side of the ladder. Adios up in the sky, burning that cooldown as good as Speedery's going to try to capitalize on that. Yep, and they do. Speedery on Adios early. Envy now looking up on this map. Will they find another? And here comes the Eye. Kaluj gets a pick with the Eye as Vest goes down, and out goes the invisible boundary. Stalling this just a little more out again with the Eternal Bond. Adios falling with that ultimate up is difficult right now, but it looks like Envy's doing a great job holding on to this, and it looks like they will get map 2. Maybe I spoke too soon, as it's really close here on the OT.
The Energy Cooper fall eventually is going to fall as well. Oh no, Spark Chief just a little bit too late. Tied up 1-1. We're heading to the third round on the very first map of the day in North America. Imperial Institute of Science will be that third map, which is a little bit more open. So I'm curious who you think this favors, Shib. I mean, does it favor Envy's composition with that Punisher, or maybe Flyquest, maybe with the squids in the Namor placement? It could be a little bit easier for them to stay alive. What do you think?
It's difficult. A lot of teams will like to break that middle segment of this map. It does pull up two essentially like flying walls. It gives your flyers something to dance around, but Speedery in the sky is terrifying. So I think it might favor Envy a little bit here in that space, that opening, that, you know, the visual height you have, just the ability to look across the map will help NK. So I think the composition is more favored for Envy on this next map, but we'll see if Fly makes a change or if they get it done with the team they're running right now.
All right, kind of agree with you, actually. We'll see what happens between both these teams. I mean, it's definitely neck and neck at the current moment. And right now, Flyquest sticking with their Hulk stuff, right? Consistently playing with that Emma Frost, considering that character made it through in the ban phase for them. We'll see what happens in this upcoming map, right? Flyquest do have that whale ready to go. No Stratus ultimates on the side of Envy. However, Speedily with the Supernova can create so much space alongside with NK if he's in a good spot. Can have a pretty strong ultimate. So right now for Flyquest, I imagine they want to up the pace a little bit, make sure Envy doesn't really get a good setup here with their Human Torch.
NK setting up the turret. It is something you have to deal with, especially if you try to go down these off angles, these tight alleyways where you get that, that AoE damage from the turret, the area of effect damage. For those who don't know what that means, into that hallway is terrifying. Already had ult, so wasn't really going for ult charge. Speedery gonna pull out the tornadoes, the Supernova again out of the back line. Double landed as NK from Energy takes that NK and Month. Good turn there. Nice start up here as Cooper finds one. Speedery back on Energy. Adios out of Speedery though. And now Flyquest is looking like they'll take this point over early on. And they just got to drop this cap, who is very difficult to get off the point.
Yeah, smart little counterplay from Flyquest there. I thought they were in a weird spot after Cooper was forced to use his crystals early for NK and that spamming that turret like you mentioned, Shiv. That was a good call out. But, for Flyquest, they're really good at counter-engaging, it looks like, because while they were playing back, avoiding the Supernova, income Hornprobius from Adios just connected on 2. And that was massive because there's no crystals to save him on the backside. Here comes the final judgment, though. Aggressive. Adios already found Speedily, though, so that's a tough spot to be in for Envy.
Yeah, it's tough to stay up when you're using that ultimate. As NK does go down, Sparchief, nice patience there to find out when to dive in. Energy gonna pop that Supernova now, and a ton of damage goes out. That's a second pick onto Kaluj. Well done by Energy right now in the sky, who is actually holding his own in the sky against Speeder, who's known as one of the best, if not the best flyer in this game.
I think we've seen it before in other regions. That Namor on this top left side of the map is really hard to dislodge. We also have so much space over there. So right now, Audio's taking full advantage of it, close to another whale again, but Envy does have Stratus ultimates. That's going to be fight changing for them. This is the first time in this round they're able to build up towards those ultimates. 60% on the board also built for Flyquest, so they're halfway to closing out on the first map.
Got to show love to Sparchief for that early pick onto the final judgment, and that is a nice cancellation there by Emma to hold on as the teams are now battling in the alleyways. We do see the damage boost goes up. NK going to take out Energy, though, and that's tough as Vess finds Kaluj. Numbers are even here. Ult advantage on the side of Flyquest, who have 4 available as they use another. Zello's going to pull out the dance floor. Here comes the whale, but nobody is inside. Good, but it did force the team to play in 2 different locations. Will that be enough? We did force out an ultimate there for Month, as Month is going to start another dance floor. Speedery, and here we go again with the Supernova. Will it find more value? Hulk trying to escape, does escape and find some off angle here directly out of the back line. Great positioning as we do see Zellos fall. Speedery, great decision making there, playing around this angle. And these are those flying covers that I was mentioning. If you break that middle start of the map, you can actually break it immediately. Those will pop up for you, and it gives Flyers a huge, essentially like wall, just natural cover to play around, which the pros do incredibly well. They will not fight it without natural cover. You'll never catch them out in the open, as we see the retake here, but 98% on the side of Flyquest.
Yeah, perfect disengage there from Flyquest. They're really good at dodging that Punisher ultimate. We see a lot of teams maybe lose 1 or 2 members of their team. Full disengage away from that ultimate, understanding how strong Final Judgment is. As most people in chat said, I've seen enough. Nerf Adam Warlock. Right now, on the comeback, Envy do have that Ayavagamoto. We've seen it before from Kaluj. Can he get it done again right now, Shiv? They need to not also give up that point as they're currently in control.
Yeah, I think we might see something a little bit more unique. We might see a counter Supernova here, potentially just to try to put damage out to wherever Strange is trying to make a play. Speedery up in the sky now, getting close to ult as well, but Energy is popping that right now. Will they find value? Essentially going to try to put as many on the floor as possible and then dunk in there. If you see 4 of those fire pits on the ground and you land on them, it can burst through Strategist ultimates, but no, gets frozen immediately. Going to play low ground here onto the dance floor as Cooper copies up Zellos and keeps it going, and Zellos will be very close to another. Kaluj with that eye. Can they play off it down? Goes Zellos. That's a huge pick. As Zellos was about to have ultimate, cannot stress enough how huge that was. But Vess, Sparchief, and Adios say, no, we don't want this to go that way, as they find 4, make that 5 and 6 as they retake the point. And that will do it, as Flyquest is going to take this map and get game 1.
Wow, what a play from Flyquest. They're so good at disengaging all these ultimates, splitting up at the perfect times to not get hit by the Eye of Agamotto, only resulting in one of their members going down every single time. And whether that be to the Final Judgment, whether that be to Supernova, they're only losing 1 member of their team and then trading it back to staying alive. I mean, that Namor has so much survivability. Same thing with Hulk. Same thing with their backline with the Namor, right? They have so many options in terms of just living. And right now, honestly, I mean, Envy's going to have to react in the ban phase next map, honestly. It feels like the side Psylocke ban, I mean, it was kind of nice, I think, to just get rid of that character. But right now, it showed that that Flyquest around this name war composition just played so well. Maybe on the upcoming maps, maybe when we head to Convergence, maybe when we head to Convoy, they could play something a little bit similar. But right now, I mean, it feels like they just allowed so much space to this Loki and to the rest of Flyquest, who just didn't seem to fall. I mean, they only had at most 7 eliminations onto Human Torch, onto Energy, and honestly, he wasn't even feeding. So right now, it's a tough game for Team Envy.
Yeah, I think Flyquest runs this comp so well, and they do it so consistently. It's difficult because it's like, you know, do you ban them out? It may not be quote unquote meta, although they make it look like it's meta. So they don't like to ban it out, and they try to find stuff like getting rid of the Psylocke there, which makes sense. But then Vess is now allowed to play this Emma and found 30k damage in 8 finals, almost across the board. The entirety of the Vanguards and Duelists looking very similar with 11 finals, 8 finals, 10 and 9 from Spark, Vess, Energy, and Adios. So the team is just playing so well together. Everybody has their space. Speedery with 13 finals on the opposition goes to show you how good he is in the sky. But like I said, Flyquest just as a unit looking incredibly strong.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors when it comes to Marvel Rivals with the ban phases, with the protections that you have, and, you know, obviously you're
around. They use a lot of ultimates just to try to ensure that they get that point early, and if they don't, then it's just a downhill, like, you know, slope where they just kind of fall down because ult advantage is now against them as they're defending, and defending gives you better positioning a lot of the time, so it's very difficult to battle back. So I'm with you that it can be a little tricky on domination.
Oh, we missed a ban. Why does that keep happening in our game shift? Was it Envy who missed it last time? I don't remember which team it was.
100
It might have been
Thieves.
Envy. It was 100 Thieves that missed
for
the
us
ban.
last time. Yeah, this is crazy, dude. That's the first.
Wait.
That's the first ban.
Did Energy like crash or something? Wait, Envy missed the ban now. We might have some issues potentially. This is the only explanation, unless both teams are agreeing to not ban things or something. Because,
Yeah.
What do you
There's nothing being
think
shown here. Yeah, there's nothing being shown here on the next ban. I'm curious if we're gonna see history in the makings here. Yeah, it could be no, it could be a gentleman's agreement. I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on. Yeah, no bans.
I imagine maybe they're like gonna restart in a second or something because there's an issue.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Yeah, going back to the beginning. Just 'cause, I mean, missing a ban is crazy, like you said, Chip. I mean, 100 Thieves didn't necessarily lose a map because of it, but it sure seemed like it when they lost. I forgot who it was too, but they definitely missed the ban, like you said, and then lost that series or lost that map.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an easy cop out if you lose. I'd be like, hey, we didn't ban, right? Like that, you know? We missed a ban.
For gore.
I was curious what was going on there, but that makes sense. I do think we need to see a change. Do you think we're going to see maybe the Hulk banned out? You know, Hulk is getting a ton of value on that side.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked to some players before saying how they talked about you want to do individual bans. And right now, I think it's a good idea to ban out maybe that Hulk, maybe something that Flyquest likes to run. But the real difficulty for sure is that I think Flyquest out of every other team is one of the most flexible teams, almost too flexible, right? Because sometimes we'll see them play Iron Fist when Iron Fist is not good. We'll see them, you know, figure out a whole bunch of stuff. And, you know, for Flyquest, it almost feels like you can't target ban versus them considering that their hero pool, right, Shib?
And that's how you excel, I think, at this level of play, especially with this banning system. I think you need to have diversity in your roster. You need to be able to play different roles, whether it's brawl, dive, or poke. You need to have other things in your arsenal, because if you do get banned out, which we've seen some of these teams struggle with, and then you try to force something maybe for the first, or it's something you've practiced not as frequently, especially at a scrim level, it is very apparent. So I do think we need to see a shift up here from Envy in the bans. I don't think the Psylocke ban off the rip is necessarily what they need.
Yeah, I kind of agree. In that boat, we'll see what they opt into. But yeah, restart on both teams' side. They're looking like they're going to go for that Emma ban, and they are this time around. Don't want to deal with Vess on the Emma. And he was having a good game, so I don't mind that, right, Shib? I mean, it seems to be a solid choice considering how the Psylocke ban went for them last time.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I think Emma had 30k damage, 8 finals, just utilizing that psionic seduction. I think that ability sets up so much, especially when you have Namor on the field, where you can throw that whale at enemies that are walking directly at you with no pace at all. So can guarantee that center location. We saw a lot of value even with just knocking down the entirety of the team. And the follow up there from Human Torch in the sky, as we see Speedery's Human Torch getting taken out there pretty quickly.
Yeah, maybe fine with it on domination, not so much on convoy. That would make sense. I think from everything we've discussed, it seems like Human Torch is harder to play on domination maps, especially on burned the Chalice, so it kind of makes sense that they would want to get rid of that. And then Wolverine ban again for Team Envy, not wanting to play against Flyquest in there. So both teams protecting that Magneto. Hovering that Psylocke ban is Flyquest yet again, though. Targeting speedily, definitely a priority for Flyquest.
Yeah, we had a conversation with Guru obviously earlier, someone who could play Wolverine at a high level. I think Yggdrasil's path is a Wolverine, it's a playpen essentially. You can just do so much with that movement. And tackling around corners that leads to free KOs. So Wolverine's a great ban out in my opinion here on Yggdrasil. And remember folks, this is the choice of Envy. They lost first map. They have the choice of map and side here on map 2. So choosing Yggdrasil, so they feel comfortable on this. So expect to see them playing well here as we go into game 2.
Protecting the Psylocke is definitely interesting. Doctor Strange ban for Team Envy's side, and I'll be honest, that doesn't feel necessarily targeted, but it is that Storm Protect to make sure Speedily can play that character, as the Ultron could be removed for Flyquest side, because on Envy's team they've also removed Ultron. We'll see what Flyquest want to do. I mean, Loki is still on the table. That character's not been touched, and Flyquest has played well. It doesn't feel like, to me at least, Shib, that Envy is targeting Flyquest specifically right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not quite sure about the Strange ban. Obviously, Strange, portal block on this map is very impactful, I think. So that is likely the thought process there. Kaluj not even needing to protect the Strange there, although we saw some big ults last map. So you're right. You're going to see that Loki. Obviously, Cooper on Loki. Shout out from last map. Just MVP again. Most healing, 59K. Closest after that was 51, and then it was followed up by 40 and 38. So a ton of healing and almost 15K damage there. And almost 20K damage there from Cooper. So with 5 finals, Loki just so strong in this current meta.
Absolutely. And on Yggdrasil path, we're probably going to see that spawn camp with the 3 Vanguards in 3 strategists. And remember, guys, this is a best out of 5. So first team to 3 maps is going to win the whole series and move on. The team that doesn't is going to be eliminated from the Ignite series and will not be going to China for our very first LAN and Marvel Rivals. So it's a big deal right now. A lot on the line for both teams. And map number 2, we've seen how strong this triple Vanguard composition is, Shib, for these first point holds for the triple strategist as well. I believe Envy still has that Wolverine as well in their back pocket if they so choose, but I don't know, what is the real answer, Shib, to this triple Vanguard composition? Is it that Storm to give your team that damage boost alongside that Punisher?
That's a difficult conversation. I don't know if it's Storm. I do think Wolverine, obviously, but it depends on the ban out situation. I think Wolverine is incredibly strong into triple here, especially into Groot. And Groot's essentially a scratching post. We make that joke all the time, and we do have the Thing out. So this is typically the comp that we see: Thing, Groot, and then some sort of frontline shield tank, like as you see here, Magneto or Strange. And ton of damage out so far. This is going to give your backline strats a ton of ult charges. You see 70% already here for Cooper. 82, excuse me, as he's just flying up, ready to press Q very shortly. Already has that ult, but so is the Eye of Agamotto from Kaluj. Finds some purchase, but not able to find any value, as we do see the dance floor pulled out here by Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like NK specifically, window is gone, by the way, in the spawn doors of his own team. I feel like what we've seen out of like Terra, he'll go into that turret form just to farm ultimate, right? Not to find eliminations, but just to build that ult. NK just going there without the turret, right? Just running in towards their face. Maybe that the idea to swap to the turret just to build up the ultimate quick could have been helpful there.
And just to shout out, Adios actually used that as well, that rocket ult at the same time as Cooper. That may have been a mistake, or it may have been for the damage to try to, they do not have any duelists out there right now. So it's all about keeping in the fight here. NK gonna find energy and Bass, and the shoddy to the body, terrifying here, as Punisher can really burn through this front line, as is shown right here, shoving through and finally pushing out of the spawn door.
Yeah, able to get on through, but maybe job's already done for Flyquest, right? Winning at least one team fight. Envy now on the back foot with 2 minutes nearly off the clock. Another fight got to come through. No portal, though, because we talked about how Doctor Strange was banned earlier, right? So Flyquest, at least in a position where maybe the second fight isn't going to be totally ideal for them, whereas Envy, because of that Doctor Strange ban, afforded themselves, a really solid second fight here as Flyquest swapped Adios over to the Human Torch.
Yeah, we also see the capping pull out here by Spark Chief on the defense, but a down immediately goes Vesh. Speedery with that AoE, just keeping the team damage boosted, walking through as Spark Chief falls as well. Envy starting to look like their old selves as we see two more go down from Kaluj and Window. Really well played again by Envy, who now found their footing and will have ult advantage in the next fight with a double duelist ultimate. This is going to be terrifying if you are a Vanguard. You got to get up there quickly, but Vest will not have that meteor ready on the Magneto.
Yeah, I mean, it's made a very awkward fight now. Cooper comes in with the copy. Here comes the Supernova from Adios as well. Can they find elimination? Speedily will fall down. These are great opening picks for Flyquest on the re-engage.
Wow, I think pressing Q just a little bit too late there for Envious. Flyquest comes through and finds the entirety of the team. What a retake as they just own this point, and now they have ult advantage in the next fight. So well played across the board. Adios and Energy there just sweeping right as you see NK pop that final judgment. That is a tough look, and we mentioned trying to keep NK up there when you're using that final. Just had a very difficult time staying up when he presses Q.
Yeah, and they should be able to find those eliminations there. So like you said, Shiv, that is tough. Now double Vanguard ultimate for Team Envy. Here comes Energy in the back. Oh no, Munt's already gone. And it's only Nero. Oh my gosh, Envy. What a timing with the Dance of the Butterflies.
Oh, that was disgusting as sending him back to the spawn door again. Not having to overcommit as Spark Chief now. And Zelos will have ult again, tied up and roughly even in the next fight. And it just seems like Flyquest has found their footing. They got a little shaken there on fight 2 and came right back.
And they're not even looking for him. He's set up behind again, unfortunately for Month. He got deleted now off that Loki onto that Invisible Woman, but Nero goes down again. Oh no, lacking that invulnerability for the backline. I mean, they're just getting dominated right now. Zealous with the clap, speedily goes down. 11 seconds left to go. You have to toss out ultimates. I mean, Window's down 2 people.
That was mean. It got the entirety of NK gonna follow up on Cooper. That's a nice pick there early on. Out goes the invisible boundary, and it's in OT now. It's all about this next few moments. Flyquest with the meteor does land, does not find any value energy. Gonna take out Nero though, and once again, it is in the favor of Flyquest. Envy starting to panic. The heartbeats are skyrocketing as they're just holding on. Speedery gonna get back here, and out goes the Hurricane, and this could be huge. Zelos just trying to run out. Out goes those crystals, but they don't have a lot of value into the Hurricane as it just burns up at the same time. Adios on NK though. Still going to be up slightly in this fight. It looks like Envy doing a good job with patience, just kind of holding on for this fight. Adios trying to find Storm, not able to do so. Back and forth to Speedery with great movement in the sky on that Z axis. Out goes Cooper. Kaluj with that Maelstrom again. These fights are so back and forth, but it looks like it's going to go in the favor of Envy, who will be able to get point 1.
I don't know how they did it. I mean, what a huge ultimate from Window. The fall from Kaluj, like you mentioned. Speedily was still alive. That was the biggest deal. At Energy, even though you find one from spawn there, you still kind of take yourself out of the fight just due to how the Psylocke plays, trying to spawn cam Nero. I mean, Nero unfortunately got bullied in that last fight, but it didn't end up mattering because his team was able to win without him, while Energy was distracted in the backline as well as speedily eventually able to get that elimination. So sometimes on Psylocke, it is that tough decision you have to make, whether to go for that spawn camp or whether to just keep harassing backline, because it looks like Team Envy were able to just win on that frontline duel.
Yeah, we have a double strat ult here available for Envy as out goes the boundary. Psylocke not able to get any value there as Energy's going to have to reset, just burning some of these walls down on the way out. Kaluj taking that space. This is a very good jump spot. You'll actually might see him retreat here and climb upwards, using that corner to hide the height and then fall down with an ult as Kaluj is going to try to hide up in that top side angle. There's flyers on the opposition as Adios is going to pop that hurricane, or the tornadoes, excuse me, the Supernova. And here comes the Hurricane right through onto the backline. Speedery, Adios going to find NK, but will Speedery be able to find some value? Yes. Down goes Vess as the numbers are evened out. Spark Chief going to pop that ultimate for Cap, the Freedom Charge. Will he keep the team in? And out goes Iavaga loaded towards the backline. But they do elect to counter ult with Zelos and hold on.
I mean, in these neutrals, I just think that really Speedily's hard carrying. I mean, Envy's strategists both layered their ultimates in that previous fight due to the Dance of the Butterflies. They definitely did not need to do that, but it doesn't matter because Speedily keeps eliminating Energy. Energy's had a tough time versus the Storm player on Envy, and he does it again. Speedily takes down Spark Chief.
Yeah, and as you're climbing ladder, you may say, oh, you got no picks with that ultimate. It's not valuable. If you're able to pull out 2 strat ults like that, that is the most valuable thing you can do in this game. Those ults are very much game stalling and game winning. And if you're able to force them out like this, it gives your team a massive advantage over the next few fights. As we do see Cooper elect to use the dance floor, keeping the team up. They're trying to burn through it with the Strangling Prison. And oh my gosh! As NK finds a quad! Absolutely disgusting setup there. Make it 5 as they get a penta, and that will give them point 2. Insane play by Envy, who still have the reset.
That might be the most eliminations from a Bucky ult I've seen in one single crack at Impact. Amazing job from NK, like you said, Shib. And right now, Envy are steamrolling into this third point, being carried by Duelists and Vanguards right now. It's been a hard game for both Nero and Month, but it hasn't really mattered because every single pick on a Spark Chief, every single pick on the Energy has been absolutely impactful for Envy to get into this third phase with a minute and 34 seconds left on the line, and their tournament life still, hanging in the winds.
And here comes the Omega Hurricane again. Will it force out some abilities? It does not. Instead, it finds a pick onto Zelos. Going to grab that health pack, but it doesn't matter as Vest with great shots there is able to find that pick and even things out a little bit. But losing a strategist early like this is difficult, especially when that strat may have ultimate. So we are going to see some pressure here from Envy, who will be up. No ults available besides Vest on the side of Flyquest. Very close here for Adios in Spark Chief, who is gaining some space. Adios going to get, very aggressive here with this. Ooh, and out goes the eye. Doesn't find a few. It does. Not able to get any purchase on the back line, though. Is going to have to retreat. Vest still holding on to this ult. Going to use it defensively to try to counter something. If possible, potentially Window with... Ooh, I was going to say the Strangling Prison. Tried to make it happen, but unable to do so. Looking directly towards the back line on Nero, but misses. And that's tough. That's a very tough look as it was potentially available there for him. NK just riding the high off that momentum of the 5-piece. May find another here shortly who's at 75, looking for another big ultimate.
And this is a tough part. They want to kind of slow it down to make sure they don't get eliminated due to this storm. But right now, counter ultimate to come through for Month. It's getting early engaged from them as Flyquest counter with the Fate of the Worlds.
Yeah, and it is going to buy some time, but there's a Dunk Energy able to clean that up. Spark Chief finding 2 more energy again with a 3-piece. Cooper onto Kaluge. Flyquest, great retake there. 5 seconds on. They will not be able to get point 3. Great defense by Fly, but you gotta show some love for the side of Envy and NK, who gets that Penta to push them through point 2, which is a very difficult point to press through.
Yeah, I don't know how Envy got it done there, honestly. I mean, in the Streets phase, it did feel like they were losing, and then out of nowhere, Speedily would find a pick. Out of nowhere, he would find another one. So right now for Flyquest, they have to kind of slow it down potentially, but it's tough because you don't want to, like I was talking about, you don't want to slow it down versus a Storm, versus the Winter Soldier, because then you allow that Groot, you allow that Winter Soldier, you allow that Storm to sort of take space and just able to kind of just exist and build up ultimates, also, find picks on the front line. So it's a tough decision right now, as it's a matter of is dive better than like these sort of brawly compositions with the Groot just sort of run together as a unit. What really is the best is kind of decided up to your team. But right now, in terms of how Team Envy is playing, they're trying to hard keep their backline alive, push away Energy, push away Spark Chief, maybe even eliminate them. For Flyquest, they're going to need to just keep Energy alive. Energy's going to have to leave probably sooner than he thinks, especially versus a Storm. Because like you said, Shib, I mean, before, I believe to me, how that Storm factor sort of changes a lot of the game up with that damage boost for the whole squad.
Yeah, not only does it have that damage boost, but it is just a guaranteed force out of your backline, of the opposition's backline, right? It does force out cooldowns, and for the, Loki crystals really don't get nearly as much value into something like Storm, just because they get burned at the same time. It forces your strats to use an ultimate or they're in trouble. So really well played. They tried to ban out Speedery here, but just too many flying heroes for him to play. Just knows what he's doing as they do push out. We see the defensive side of Envy actually going to be using double shield with the Groot instead of having that thing. So that could be a little bit of change of pace. Adios finds one early though, but it is res back. And that's that just goes to show you some love there from Speedery on Rocket, who's now not using a flyer, instead going to help the Vanguards in the back as they will continue forward. Vest, that's a great change here. A lot of teams are electing to use Squirrel Girl here just to push through these walls in the shield. Just shoot right into them. Go ahead and just take them out. You don't need to find a ton of value on burning the backline. Just burn through the shields and make those shield front lines way less valuable. But as I'm saying that, Flyquest just kind of collapsed through and just walked through them. Great switch there by Vess again to burn walls and shield on the Squirrel.
Yeah, perfect Terror Cape there from Zelos, able to find the elimination. It's a shame only that Vess is not using the AC-130 crosshair that we saw in EMEA with Orion. Now early fight from Envy. Energy, oh no, picks off Nero early.
Yeah, and that is valuable. Again, Flyquest looking really good. 3 more go down, and now Energy going to play in the Storm with the damage boost combination from Zelos. Down go 4 as they shove them back in. That portal only 20 seconds on will be gone, and that could be enough for them to get this first point for free with almost 3 minutes on. Flyquest took that loss personally on the first 2 points, and they want to make sure they get map 2 as they progress forward here and wall off all the available zones.
Yep, with 4 on cart as well. The cart moves as fast as possible, sailing in the wind right now for Team Envy. Regrouping in the second phase is crucial. Getting a fight win or two with 5 minutes is important, obviously. But for Team Flyquest, they have some good ultimates to work with. Play around Adios and that final judgment. We're going to need to see some good gameplay out of that Punisher in order to see them go against Envy, because they've swapped over now to Bucky and also that Storm on their defense.
All right, Kalu's trying to set up an eye here. Alt advantage for Envy. They want to make big plays and hold tight here again as they still use that double shield composition. Then far less frequent. Adios going to pop out the final judgment. Haven't seen a ton of Adios on Punisher. Trying to burn through that Omega Hurricane as you are, so see immune. You cannot be moved around, which you do get slightly moved in that Hurricane. And it's one of the strongest ultimates outside of something like Iron Man to just burst through that Hurricane and find value as a counter. Vest and Spark it too. Out here goes Vest with a meteor. Will it land? Got to get rid of those crystals. They do as Vest finds 2 more. Make that 3. Adios on a few more as the whole team gets wiped out. And Flyquest keeping the pressure forward. And they do have the Hurricane again for energy in the beginning of the next fight, forcing out Nero's ult relatively early.
Oh my god, shoved into a locker. I mean, the bully gets bullied. Kaluj tried to ult, got it canceled by Vest and Spark Chief, setting up the wall behind him. The freeze also opened it up from Cooper, so everybody putting in work there to pick off Kaluj, who had that Eye of Agamotto, like you said, Shiv. And now Envy, they're looking to stall out with the Fate of the Worlds potentially, but it's going to be against the Swinging Prison and the Storm ult, and those can get eliminations even through that ult.
Oh, and here comes the change of pace as you see Speedery now on the Wolverine. There goes the dance floor, forced out by the Hurricane. No ults up. It will be a neutral fight coming up here shortly. Actually, last stand here from Speedery could be very impactful. We will see a ton of ults coming here from Flyquest at the same time as they're all relatively on the same pace. And now it's all about playing slow and, patiently finding an open window. Adios going to initiate with the, fighting one. Will we see more through the dance floor? Looking directly at Wolverine to try to find the last stand. It does go out. Does it find any purchase? It does not. It is matched up there by Cooper with the dance floor to ensure no one falls. No KOs yet on the side of Envy, up just barely by 1 as they're trying to pull out the Shoddy. Adios directly on the front line, and down goes Window slowly but surely as they get point 2.
I mean, that was clean. I mean, able to live through that last stand, able to live through that Meteor M from Window. The Vanguards of Flyquest really protecting everybody while they were trying to live on that objective, and it just panned out right now for Envy. They are not connecting on ultimates, right? That Meteor M needed to hit. That last stand needed to find eliminations, but immediately the strategists there are there to support the team, give them a ton of that healing on top of the Vanguards blocking all these ultimates. So right now, Flyquest are snowballing in the third phase of the map. We have 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. I'm worried for Team Envy unless they can string together a few fights.
We've seen defensible positions before. It's all about bunkering down now and holding this angle. It's a pretty strong defensible position. You do have some height in the back. Adios, though, out of the sky goes Speedery. Nice shots there again. Adios really showcasing that they can play whoever they want here. Has a ton of variability in who they can choose. Spark Chief taking a ton of damage. Out goes the Strangling Prison. Doesn't seem to get very many, if any. And Vest not able to get anything there as we essentially see a switch. They are forcing them deep back into the spawn. Nobody up in numbers. Flyquest has the Hurricane and the double strat line. Out goes Kaluj, finding a few with the eye. Window going to clean that up. Spark Chief goes down on the side of Fly. Kaluj on a Vest now. Both Vanguards are down. They do not want to commit ults. We will see Energy and Cooper holding on here, but they did lose the Eternal Bond, and those are those small wins for the side of Envy you need to have.
And I got up the dance floor, at least with Energy's ultimate falls back to the team. But like you said, those are those fights you need for Team Envy. However, losing a Strider's ultimate now is not ideal because Flyquest are coming back through with their own Fate of the Worlds. They're trying to win right now with the final judgment.
Adios pressing in heavy. Got to get through this barrier, find out where the enemies are there. Trying to keep a ton of pressure. Great rotation as Kaluj is not going to allow any value. Adios goes down early. Well played again by the side of Envy, who are just holding on. Now NK going to keep the pressure up and walk them back towards the spawn door. 2 minutes and 20 on the clock, and Envy is really showing up when they need to.
And Spark Chief over to the thing as well. Maybe trying to go for a clobber in time in this upcoming fight. Speedily as well. Last stand available. Energy going to swap back over to that Psylocke. Adios onto that Human Torch. Cooper also back over to Loki. So going back to their more traditional composition for Team Envy. They're still looking to play around this last stand in the Meteor M from Window.
Yeah, alt advantage again for Envy, and this is what we're talking about, those trades. You always want to be alt up at the end of these fights. You want to try to make sure you always have some sort of advantage, and they're doing a great job of maintaining that. This is where that confidence, that maybe a little overconfidence of pushing through the first 2 points relatively quickly bites you in the butt a little bit, where you just feel like you have it, and now the enemy team has made some swaps, and they're looking real good. Energy going to get tackled there early. Down goes Energy as NK cleans that up. Speedery here on the Wolverine, finding a ton of value. Speedery's hero pool is just so POVS, and this is a great swap here, but they do, elect to choose the Thing to try to get not any more tackles, but now it's going to be Speedery focusing the backline and the Duelists instead of the Vanguards, because you can't really get too much value there on the Thing. They are going to press him back to the spawn door again. This may not have been an ultimate that was necessary unless they find a few picks. Outgo all those clones. It's very important to burn Loki clones. Do not leave those up in ladder. A very, the smart thing to think about. Burn equipment. It's value as you burn equipment. Do not forget about it, is it will bite you. And again, we have a retake here. There's a ton of ults being pressed for Flies. We see Energy, Cooper, and Vest. Vest needs to land this here. And yes, he does. His 2 go down, but Speedery gets 2 to even out the odds. Oh my goodness, Speedery looking so good here as the numbers are even once again. Getting tackled out. Out goes the clobbering time. It lands on a few, but no follow-up. Nobody's able to find any value. And out go Crystals as well, as it's evened out on this fight. Who will land in the neutral as Window finds Spark Chief again?
Yeah, I feel like this Wolverine is definitely favored in these neutral fights. I mean, so much damage on the cart. So many members also found early by Flyquest. Low-key, another part that matters of Punisher's kit is those wall hacks whenever you threw out that Scourge Grenade and stuff. So we saw Energy was going for that flank. They knew the Dance of the Butterflies was coming, and it was ranked to by the backline of Team Envy from Nero, from Month, with that invisible boundary. They have no Stratus ultimates in this coming fight. In fact, nothing in general. They need to find a pick early.
And here we go again. Flyquest finally up at ult advantage, but Speedery doing a great job getting picks early. Not able to get anything with that tackle again, and out goes Adios. Will this get any value? That is diveable if they need be. Adios just trying to take this free space, and is in a dangerous position now. The cart right on the line. Will they find Strange? Very weak, and down goes one. Adios on a window, and there's a 2-piece by Energy. Vest gonna clean up Kaluge. This could be enough for the win as Flyquest clutch up in the moment, and they will get the job done and shove through and take map 2. Flyquest up by 2.
Oh my goodness, Flyquest against the clock itself. I mean, it took them 3.5 minutes to close out on the map, Shib, and they finally did it. No ultimates, a little bit overuse of ultimates. In fact, in the last fight, I was a little bit worried, although I understand why they were playing around the payload, with that Human Torch ultimate with the Supernova, looking not for the backline, but for those Vanguards. It took them a little while, but the chunk down of that HP eventually came through, and Envy's collapsed. So really, really good map between both teams. I think right now, though, Envy are definitely sweating bullets in that ban phase. It looked a little bit better for them to keep that Storm, and we saw how much value Speedery got on the Storm, but he was forced over to that Wolverine later on in the map series, and also now it's putting them on map point, right? Flyquest could close out on Envy and send them home early. One of the favorites of the tournament could be already gone if they don't come back on map number 3, man.
Oh, the stakes are so crazy. Removed from the tournament, removed from LAN, and, that prize pool that is just right in front of your face. I mean, you got it. Flyquest across the board again. 11 finals, 13, 14, 16. This team is just so consistent together always. So close across the board. You just got to show the Vanguards who are finding so many final hits. We talk about damage and how important finals are in comparison to damage. I'd rather have you have less damage and more finals. It shows me that your damage is targeted and you're not just feeding those strategist ults. But, Cooper, at this point, might as well call Cooper the MVP king. They are just popping off here again with 75k healing. Do not give Cooper Loki, because it is just unstoppable.
Yeah, I don't know if I was fully on the boat with ban Loki, because I don't think you need to ban Loki every single game, but I kind of do agree with the point team that might potentially see a lot of people at these events supporting them as a team like Sentinels and stuff. Yeah. But now we're entering the ban phase. Emma banned first for both sides. Again, for Team Envy, they're sticking with their strategy, at least first ban, but they have some potential changes to make later on.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just on that conversation, I think Sentinels, we mentioned this last cast, I think sometimes they don't always get their flowers. An incredible team with a bunch of likable personalities. So similar story there as we get into LAN. But yeah, we see that torch ban off the rip. Goodbye for Speedery. Obviously a little bit of focus there, and the Magneto lock in. It's either going to be Emma or Mag for the most part at this on this side of the pond, as we've seen a lot less of that over on EMEA with more Hulk style of play, with a little more aggression, with that brawly, more divey focused compositions. But goodbye Wolverine again. They don't want to deal with that, and I understand that at my core, and potentially see the double ban here of Psylocke and Ultron, which we haven't had eyes on yet.
Nope. I mean, yeah, getting rid of that again. Envy kind of following their similar a strategy from Domination and then recently on Convoy. And we've talked to Armori on broadcast, at least Vicky and Cozy did yesterday, with Armori mentioning how these teams have spreadsheets, a lot of them, right? Figuring out, they ban this, we ban this, they're on this, we play this, right? Against every specific team. And we talked as well, I think in EMEA, they talked to Trust Me, how he watched a lot of North America. North America, definitely a big region on top of the meta to a certain degree in certain aspects, right? Every sort of region has their own takes, and it's good to have that diverse opinion of the meta, considering you don't want to get, stuck in your little echo chamber of your meta, right? And, be stuck on the potentially wrong composition. But right now for teams, Envy focusing on that Ultron this time, keeping it protected. Also on Flyquest side, keeping their Psylocke alive and on the table as they banded out for Team Envy.
Yeah, I like that point, bringing up the meta change and needing to be versatile as a team. We're about to get into Season 3 that's coming up here. I can't wait to hear new hero, but that starts the wave of a monthly new hero and patch, and that is going to force these teams to be versatile and really focus on team communication and understanding rather than just locking in one hero and only finding value with that one or two heroes. You need to be versatile. You need to be able to change things up, which I think is super interesting for Marvel Rivals as a whole, as a hero shooter. I love the idea that you need to be able to have more in your bag, and I think that really helps the scene, as we've seen a ton of different compositions find value here in this tournament alone.
And I wonder, Shiv, does that warrant the question, right? If we're getting so many heroes, right? If we potentially would have 12 heroes a year, I mean, what does that mean that we have to add more bans to this potential Ignite series stage with the first time we're seeing these targeted bans? You think we had 5 bans instead of 4? I mean, I don't know. What does this sort of change the dynamic of the game? Like you said, Shiv, I think it's so enticing to think about, the potential of the future heroes that we have in store.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a conversation of more bans, but I do think that heroes in and of themselves are potential counters, which may take away from some of the banning, where you just have a new hero that comes out that counters someone that's always been a problem, right? We talk about, maybe right now Emma is a problem, but there could be a new hero that comes out that helps really counterplay, with the counterplay against Emma. So that kind of conversation can come into fruition too, especially if there's going to be so many of them. So yes, banning could definitely be something that helps as we get more bans, but I do think just heroes in and of themselves can be a good counter as we start off here on the first fight.
I know a lot of pro players have opinions on balance and discussion of heroes, and a lot of them are good. There is a lot of validity, I think, a lot of passion behind a lot of these pro players in which they discuss and have a lot of discourse around the meta of the game. But right now, energy on that Psylocke against those double flyers, like you mentioned, Shiv, going to have Nero, Speedily, and Cal, or Nero and Speedily in the sky, supported by Cal and Month. So triple strategist, but right now, the Ultron's priority is to keep Speedily alive.
Yeah, and Speedily so good there in the sky. You know the Storm is going to get value. I think this is a defensible position, but with the flyers like this, I think it's a really good map actually for Torches. Adios, playing around that natural cover like we talked about before. You'll never see players at this level just standing in the open. They always have some sort of wall near them that is either indestructible or takes a fair amount of damage. And Nero already with that ultimate, out goes right towards the backline. Sparky finds Cal there though, and that is going to be in the favor of Flyquest. Make that 2-ish. Speedery goes down, and that just means that value there from Ultron wasn't as impactful, but good ideas. Audio is going to clean up window, and that should be enough to drive them back to the spawn door.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, Peel came through from Vest, a little bit too far of a dive from the side of Envy, and Spark Chief also able to find Cal on that backside. Right, Cal, interesting that he is in the lobby now instead of NK, also onto that Cloak and Dagger. So for him to flex back over to Strategist, his original role in this hero shooter genre is fun to see.
Yeah, Cal been very versatile. We've seen him on Vanguard as well in this tournament, so a very strong player. He said, put me in, coach, and here he is as we begin Flyquest with ult advantage up right now. Cal is going to fall, though, as Vest. Great meteor ram. Out goes the eye, and it's mean. It finds a ton, but we'll be able to collapse. Month going to help take out energy there, and that is some value. Audio's going to try to counter it back by forcing the space, shutting them down as Spark Chief gets 2. Window and Month goes down. Haven't seen a ton of the Vest on the Speedery. We haven't seen a ton of value with those right clicks from Venom, but that's a 2-piece as Cooper cleans up Kaluge, and that is a win there from Flyquest, who will be slightly down in ultimate advantage in the next fight.
Yeah, Spark Chief, an absolute unsung hero of Flyquest, one of the best kind of diving Vanguard players in the game. Can play the Venom, the Captain America, also can play a lot of Hulk. So his versatility has been big for Flyquest. Overall, the whole team for sure as well. Envy trying to disengage again, another aggressive dive from Flyquest.
Yeah, energy is going to be obviously a very strong Psylocke. Saw a ton of very strong dance of the Cutterflies, if you will, on the back line with multiple 3 KOs. And Ultron going to put a ton of pressure out. Window going to find Zelos, and that's a nice start there. As Alt or you will lose a strategist, and that's very difficult. Out goes the dance of the butterfly, not able to find much, and here comes the hurricane, and it lands, but will it be enough? Great teleport out there by Cooper. Incredible movement, staying up and using that invisibility, but not for long. Speedery is going to shut that down. Great tracking and understanding where that teleport went. Speedery holding on with that Ultron. Ultron does enable your flyers to play more aggressively, as you do see Speedery out in the open here, finding a two-piece and owning this space. The teleport comes through, and they may hold on to the last possible second before they walk through.
Diving back and forth, triple Vanguard now for the stall from Flyquest. Ayavakamoto gets deleted. Oh no, Kaluge again doesn't find anything. And Telos is here with the fate of the worlds.
So what we saw there was, I believe, we saw the push there from Vess, shoving the eye into that corner. Incredible patience there, and then popping a bubble to have another right clicker ready to clean up Strange right after that. Energy finds Speedery, and wow, what a good retake here as they have two ticks on Spark Chief onto Window. Vess onto Cal, and the teleport needs to come through here from Kaluge, and this will be a final fight situation. Can Envy push through, or will Flyquest take this series 3-0?
I mean, this is their tournament life on the line at this point. I mean, getting first held on this map is pretty much a death sentence. We'll see if they can get out of it. Nero opening pick on Energy. That's massive. Forcing the greens out. Vess trades it, though, again.
Yeah, Vess just finding a ton of value with these meteors. The meatballs out of the sky. Adios holding on to that eye, and here it comes. And it finds a few. They've got to get this pick here, but no! Speedery on the Adios. Down goes Adios again, and Envy now up in numbers holding on, and they do have the Hurricane available if they need to use it. Out goes the dance floor, too, and it's anybody's fight now.
Vess again on a Cal, though. Oh, no, Cal. It's been a rough map for him, but they're able to kind of come back with 2 eliminations. Kaluge is also there. And finally, in overtime, I mean, they just have a couple more players to deal with, Zelos being one of them. Envy will get it done, move on to the streets phase of the map. What a high-pressure situation to be in. But Envy, I mean, they've cooked something up right now as they move into second phase of the map. And, you know, we've seen teams struggle first point, but then kind of smooth sailing throughout the rest of the game. We'll see if Flyquest can sort of stop Envy's push, as, you know, they did a really good job first point, but, you know, the map's not over just yet, and we've seen teams kind of snowball to the end of the map. And for Team Envy, they're in a position to do it. I mean, they have ultimates available. Nero as well has that Ultron Rage ready to go.
Yeah, Envy clutching up there in moment of need. They get it done, and that's just what the best teams do. Envy looked really good on that final point. We do see a bit of a switch in team comp here. Window obviously on the Venom now, playing very aggressive. Nero has about 5,000 of these ultimates whenever ready. Down goes one, always seeming to get a pick and forcing out another. That is a ton of value there. Nero, I did highlight in the Cozy Cast, an incredible Ultron, one of the best in this entire series so far, just playing hyper aggro and really showcasing what you can do here with that triple strat line. Actually, yeah, the triple strat line, excuse me, again, as they take that corner, and that's a very defensible position. Envy really finding their footing up again. Double ultimate here ahead of Flyquest.
The Cozy Cast, obviously presented by the wonderful caster Cozy, keeping you up to date on everything Marvel Rivals oriented. Now Flyquest on the re-engage. No Stratus ultimates, but they do have month of those crystals ready to go. Venom fight in the sky, by the way, towards the buildings in the top right, trying to kind of control that positioning and also deleting a lot of the cover while they were at it.
And now the pressure's up. Energy with a nice pick there on the window, and that's how you want to start these fights. If you're Flyquest, they've got to get that momentum back. They lost it slightly there. Envy still up in alt charge, but here comes Speedery. This is going to force out a few things in the dance floor. Going to be pop, but Energy takes out 2 of the backline as Cal falls. Energy out of Nero as well. All 3 strategists go down to Energy, who is so clutch in these moments. Now 38 seconds on, only having to use 1 ultimate and a counter ult there, on the back line from Cooper. But wow, as we do, Spark Chief is going to DC here on point, and that's dangerous.
Any pausers? Any pausers? There it is. Pause comes out from the referee. And it's a real quick disconnect. Man, this whole kind of playoffs has been both a blessing and the curse. We saw some incredible games yesterday, like you said, Chip, earlier, how every single game went to 3 maps in the best out of 3. Now we're entering the best out of 5. Another incredible series of matches surely ahead of us, but it feels like we're rated by technical pauses. Like, this actually just keeps happening, right? In EMEA, same thing. A lot of pauses. We call, Virtus Pro could be called Virtus Pause, right? Because we saw so many pauses out of them in EMEA. No offense, VP, obviously a fantastic team. Sure, it was not really their fault. I mean, there's been a lot of other things, like we saw with Terra having a hurt hand. I mean, he cut cut his hand up, had to play with bandages. He said in the interview, he's like, man, I'm hurting after that one. And,
Yeah.
you know, we also had, I believe, obviously no excuses for any of these teams, but, you know, for SDX, for Shroud X with, I believe it was Scatter Gengi, his entire neighborhood's power went out right before their match. So he had to go to an esports cafe and make them stay 4 hours past closing time so he can compete. So, you know, a lot of things are happening behind the scenes that people don't realize. And that's just the nature of online. It kind of gets crazy like this. You know, people will, you know, argue even behind the scenes. Which server are we playing on? Are we playing West Coast? Are we playing Central? Are we playing East Coast? You know, all these sort of things can dictate the outcome of the matches. But at the end of the day, Shib, I mean, me and you can both agree the best teams will win despite the odds, right?
That's it. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You talked about Terra there, obviously with the torn up hand. I was like, you know, a really cool tweet. It's essentially like the flu game, Michael Jordan's flu game. You know, 50-1, I believe, something like that. There on Punisher just looked insane on that final game to clutch up the W there. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we got to draw attention quickly. Energy. Did you see that final ult finding 3, but not just 3, all 3 strategists, and that is going to force this final fight. So that is going to put the side of Flyquest heavy up in terms of ult advantage on this final fight. I think that's going to, you know, be massive for them as we do see this pause looking like it's going to be undone. Here we go again as the pause is going to, you know, be unlocked here. Sparky coming back in the game, but you see ult advantage actually on the side of Envy, but those picks for Energy were huge. Vess has found value with almost every single Meteor M. Well, can he find another here? That would be crucial. Nero, what do you know? Another engagement here with the Ultron's Rage. Doesn't find a pick this time, but it does. Ooh, I lied as Window cleans that up onto Zelos, and that's a massive start here. Spar Chief off the map. Unfortunately, Nero onto Vess. Make that 2 as Adios goes down. Nero just does not miss here on the robot, and that is going to be enough to push them through point 2.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Vess in the sky with the Meteor M got deleted. His ultimate also removed. Everybody's shooting it, making sure it exploded in his hand. Doesn't do damage, obviously, to that Magneto, but it does remove that ultimate, remove that threat, and also the damage follow through afterwards was too much for Vess to stay alive. Flyquest moving into third phase of the map. This is what we talk about, Chib. It seems like in the second phase of a lot of these maps, teams tend to get snowballed sometimes. And right now, Flyquest looking to get another 3rd-point hold like it did on Aegis El Path. Window above, ready to go for the dive.
And here we go. Great engagement and great call out of that beginning. Good position there by Window. They are going to collapse onto the backline. Crystals going to do their job. Speedery with a Hurricane out. It is going to be matched here by the side of Zelos, who's holding on. Eye of Agamotto. It finds at least a few. Spark Chief goes down. Nero going to clean up Cooper. And the momentum has heavily shifted towards Envy as Flyquest are going to have to stagger onto the point. And it is going to be a neutral fight. Energy here actually will have ultimate. Spark Chief going to be switching over to Hulk, as that is going to be essentially home here. Will they be able to get this touch, or will the pressure from Window at the spawn door hold them enough? Up in the sky goes Window. When you're playing Venom like this in ladder, you do not want to engage with your movement. You don't want to use that web, those tendrils, to take height. Instead, just walk up and then fall down so you have the tendrils to escape, as you saw right there. Just something to take into your ladder games. Energy onto Nero. Great jump and engagement in the sky to find a pick as crystals are popped again. Ton of damage here again towards the backline. Energy trying to find a second, but Kalush takes out Spark Chief. Down goes Bruce. The numbers are evened out as Envy's trying to head back here quickly. Here comes the portal play, and it's holding on as Kalush is doing a ton of damage. Speedery on to Energy, and that could be enough here. On the sky goes Kalush, which Strange actually does a decent job here in the sky. Window fall, or takes out Zelos, excuse me. And here comes the Hurricane to clean up the rest as Speedery drops Cooper, and that should shove them through all 3 points as they have a few left on the Staggerfest. Down goes Hulk. Well done, Envy, to ride that momentum.
Yeah, I mean, that was perfect, like you mentioned, in terms of momentum. Envy to get the 3rd point, close it out. I mean, the dive towards the spawn, we also had a slow, you know, portal block come out of the spawn as well. I don't know if somebody got stuck in there. It might have been the Loki, but we, you know, we've seen Loki's escape out of those if you just teleport to your clone. So a lot of different adaptations and changes from Flyquest, but unfortunately could not build up towards those ultimates. You called it out, Shib, how Envy was already sitting in such a great position with their ultimates, right? Sitting at an advantage, and Flyquest really not able to react. They did find Nero in the sky with Energy. By the way, that's a tough thing to do on Psylocke. Take care of a flyer with that Dance of the Butterflies. You have to sort of position it in an angle in which it would get onto Nero. Nero obviously not low enough to the ground to get advantage of these Loki crystals. So overall, Envy doing a fantastic job playing around that Ultron, allowing Nero to find those opening picks, like you mentioned, Shib, putting themselves in a good spot right now where, you know, you would assume based on how Edge's Cell Path went that, you know, Envy could get slowed down in that third phase of the map, but luckily for them, they were able to close out around Energy as well, around Speedily, maybe shut down some of Energy on that Psylocke as well. So Flyquest could potentially change things up with that Hulk yet again. We saw Adios on that Namor earlier. We'll see if it can pan out for them, as we don't really see it too often on Central Park in terms of the Namor on attack especially.
Yeah, I got to call out again, Nero, 10 finals there on Ultron, enabling Speedery to play more aggressively with that Hurricane. You know, when you enable your flyers with that Ultron drone, it's another level of protection. You can play hyper aggro, and that allows Storm to get that ult back incredibly quickly, who already gets a ton of value with how fast that ult comes back. It just is even cleaner and faster. So well played again, and great composition shift here as Nero immediately finds a pick here onto Adios. Numbers now up here again for the side of Envy, who are going to play this composition and not change a thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Flyquest are going to shift things up and pull out that Namor Hulk.
Yeah, and that was an incredible shot from Nero, like you mentioned, Window trying to evade in the meanwhile. But we talked about how good Storm is. By the way, Zelos, oh my gosh, aggressive, bloodthirsty Luna Snow open things up in the next fight for Envy right now. Sent back all the way into the choke point right now. Flyquest trying to kind of absorb this point and control it themselves.
Yeah, good pressure here and great space taken by the Vanguards as they are owning and shoving them into that corner. But great decision making here by Envy. Let them have a few ticks and retake. Try to find value as Nero takes out Energy and then retake the fight. Hulk obviously really strong into those, you know, frontline shield Vanguards. Can just essentially pummel on the front line and be ready to use that exile if need be. Adios taking the pressure right onto Venom. It's very strong into Venom there. Venom not able to escape those squids as they deal damage. Nero trying to find some value in the sky, but very low on HP. 50. Great dancing there, but not going to be enough as Vest cleans that up. Nero goes down. Out goes some of the dance floors. We see Zelos popping that Fate of Both Worlds. Cooper going to run out right there, but Flyquest still should be slightly up in numbers as Nero goes down. They are holding, and here comes Adios with a two-piece with the whale. Energy onto Speedery. Kaluge with the eye still gets one onto Cooper, but will that be enough? I don't think so. It looks like Flyquest will take point one.
Wait, in the Namor, it just works so well in this first point as well. I mean, you saw both Stratus players playing inside, not expecting to get, you know, one shot by a whale from the top ropes, and Envy unfortunately could not react to Adios and that ultimate. I mean, that Namor found all of the value there for sure. We've seen him before on Domination, on Burn the T'Challa, do so much on the Namor. We'll see if he can do it again. 4 minutes and 20 seconds now into the middle phase of the map. Right now, Envy looking to stabilize, but right now for Window, he's going to have to deal with so much pressure from this Namor.
And here comes the Hurricane again towards the back line. Crystals get popped, but they won't last long. Speedery going to take out Zelos. Monk's going to follow up on Energy. Window onto Cooper. Well done, Envy, finding a three-piece off of one ultimate, and that should be enough value as Vest is going to take out Speedery there and force a refight as Vest is... I thought he was contemplating using an early portal. As you have 3 minutes on, you can actually portal. It is a 3-minute cooldown. Keep that in mind. Smart Chief going to jump off the side just to reset with the team. I believe 6 seconds on that retake here, on that respawn, excuse me, as Vest starts taking that space early. Remember, Eye of Agamotto, alt advantage on the side of Fly. You don't want to hold on to stuff too early, and you don't want to start this fight too early when you don't have Smart Chief here, because it just, you know, feeds that back line of Envy. So good decision to not force too much energy. Going to use that. Oh my goodness. He goes down immediately.
I mean, Kaluge built up the energy, flew up into the sky, and then just no fallout damage on that E now. So Doctor Strange very strong at doing that right now. Kaluge as well took full advantage, similar to what Vest did on first point. So both Doctor Strange is trading blow for blow. This character can do so much in this current patch of the game, which we are on that most current patch, the live patch of the game. But Envy, they need to win these few fights in a row. Whale comes through, and no, it finds Cal again. That's brutal for Team Envy.
Adios just absolutely popping off with these whales from downtown, just feeding them towards the back line and always seeming to find value. Gotta show some love there as Envy's down 2 numbers, both of which are important. As Speedery goes down, Adios finds Kaluge and Nero, and at this point, another great shot there on the window out of the sky. The Trident from distance. Adios playing lights out. Again, Flyquest gonna be evened out in ultimates, but it is the dance floor, which we know how strong that ability is, as they are gonna have a slight advantage in positioning, shoving them in the door. It looks like Envy might give this point up. I don't know if they're going to be able to touch here.
Yeah, you're right.
No.
They tried. I mean, it looked like there was maybe an attempt there, but now we're into the third phase of the map, rather, 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Envy not even in the fight there is definitely kind of brutal. Window trying to escape, but man, he's had a tough time. Here comes Speedily again with the Hurricane. He's found value before, but I mean, they already gave up the point. Fate of the Worlds comes out from Zealous at the very least. He's going to go down on the trade because of that ultimate. Ayabakamoto also committed onto Spark Chief. I mean, there's not a lot of card space created, so kind of interesting use of ultimates out of Envy. I wonder if they're going to try to change compositions or something, because right now they're finding no value.
Yeah, one thing to call out is when you're struggling with flyers and you're playing the Vanguard position, Strange does a decent job of taking out flyers. Build up that Maelstrom and then try to get up in the sky, through a couple left clicks, throw a melee out and press E. And it typically will clear out flyers incredibly quickly, and they don't expect it as you're playing Strange. And we see a lot of that in this tournament here. Now goes the eye, but I believe it was shoved away, or the map change may have messed it up, as not able to get a ton of value there on Vess. No fall, oh my goodness, adios on a month and Cal. Can he be stopped with these whales? Moby Dick from downtown just absolutely demolishing the backline. Energy on the Speedery again, and Flyquest heavy up in numbers as they shove through and clean up the rest. And we're going to hold on to these Qs and try to use them in potentially the final fight.
I don't know, I mean, I know with the radius got increased, right, with the Whale Ultimate, the Horn of Proteus, but damn, I mean, every single time he's getting a backline with them. For Envy, it's tough because they also don't have that Loki, so they can't just like live with the crystals. You know, there's so many different ways to avoid that whale, and really the only way right now is through splitting. Hulk Ultimate is well committed from Spark Chief to stay alive, but it gets Ayabakamoto, so he's perma-stunned in the spawn. Do they have the damage and follow-up to take out Spark Chief?
Yeah, that was great play there by Kalush to slow up Hulk before Hulk could get a ton of value. Down he goes early, and that is worth it in my opinion. You may say, you know, you need eyes to try to hit 5 pieces. If you get a single pick with it, it is more than worth the value. So great play there, especially on an ulting Hulk. Down goes Vess, his Window, not afraid to punch right through those shields. Energy on a Nero is a great start, though. Energy, a very strong side lock, but doesn't stay up long. Speedery on Adios, and Envy going to retake positioning here.
Shit, but guess what's coming up? We got that whale. All right, we got the famous book available for Adios and Envy. I know Speedily's able to find the backline a lot of times, able to connect onto at least one member on Flyquest, especially that Zelos just committed the Fate of the Worlds. That's definitely big for him in this upcoming fight. But right now, I'd be scared, right, for Team Envy. Adios, no matter the situation they're in, it seems like he always connects with such a crucial ultimate. Also, thanks to the butterflies available.
Yeah, these are just half-court shots. Let's see if he can do it again. Up in the sky, Nero putting a ton of damage out, does force out cooldowns. Will it be enough? There goes the dance of the butterfly, and it still didn't find a ton of value. Did use more cooldowns as energy. They are going to start walking them now as they're down a ton of abilities. Vess trying to own this space, but the Hurricane is terrifying. Do they have a match? They do. Cooper should be able to copy up here. Yes, already ready for it. Good early copy there on the Zealous, which can be risky as they hold on the entirety of the team. Staying up, does counter as Vess. There we go, counter flying. Down goes Speedery early. Good damage as Adios already used the whale. Didn't find much value. It does get matched up as we do see the invisible boundary. 54 on the clock.
And Cal's coming up with that Eternal Bond. Zelos there to match it on the other side. And here comes an Ayabakamoto matched by Zelos immediately. But Cal goes down with the oh no!
Yeah, that's a huge pick again. Cal not able to get out the back line as they are walking them. That could be another yes. Energy, great positioning. Adios on a Kalush. Sparky about a month, and that should be enough to shove them through with some time on the clock.
I mean, we're done. We're done. Flyquest capped out the map. 31 seconds left to go. We're all tied up now, as both teams are going to have another shot on attack. Flyquest going to be on defense first. Envy moving on to attack first. And what a close series it's been, Shib. I mean, both teams in their attack against the wall, right? Just every time. Really, the clock working against them, right? Envy almost got first point held. And now we're going to the attack of Team Envy. And, man, that's brutal, Shib, because Cal had his ultimate. He had the Eternal Bond ready to go. Goes down again to Vess. I mean, both of these Doctor Stranges have done a lot of work, but Vess, I think he's done a good job peeling, understanding when to go aggressive. He's obviously pocketed by some of the best backline in the game, but right now, Vess is doing so much on Doctor Strange and really opening up a lot of this fight. But he's going to be going over to the Magneto because that character did get through for both teams. Both, by the way, have swapped off that Magneto at some point or another. And it looks like both teams are going to go back towards those compositions. Whereas instead of having the Doctor Strange, Spark Chief will be on that Hulk.
Yeah, and goodbye Venom as well, right? That was a consistent pick on both sides. No longer going to be choosing that. We do see Envy running back the double shield, which obviously struggles into stuff like Emma, but Emma being kicked out, it's definitely far more viable, and they're obviously feeling comfortable as you see Kalush with 10 finals there. When, you know, the most across the side of all of the Vanguards. Kalush just an absolutely disgusting Doctor Strange, showcasing what he can do in these fights.
Yeah, I know that they want to support Speedily in the sky with that invisible woman and with that shield, but right now, definitely need that Loki to come back through. So, you know, besides that Luna, or besides that Storm, Doctor Strange, and Punisher. The difference will be Flyquest going to have energy on that Psylocke alongside Hulk and Hulk. Oh my goodness, Hulk's gone already.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Hulk is really struggles into, you know, a really strong Punisher, especially like if an Invis is on there to pull back the jump, but no Invis, just raw damage out there from Cal, who's now back on the duelist role and wants to get some vengeance here. Jumping up, trying to find a nice shot there onto the back line. Taking to about half HP, does escape there, and here comes the teleport. Will block off a little bit of the vision, and that is going to be a defensive TP, I believe, from Spark, who's now no longer on that Hulk and instead on the Strange. Adios likely going to switch off of Namor here. Spark Chief finds Speedery. Cal on a Sparky. Cal stepping up in this moment.
Going down is definitely big, and Flyquest still trying to hold on this point with the portal. I mean, they have people responding. I think one person just missed the portal, however, and Kaluja again does take down Adios, goes very aggressive. I mean, he kind of just ignored everybody else towards the objective, running on through, and Envy, they cap out. We're heading to the Streets phase, second phase of the map.
Envy really showing up. I like this change in composition and play as we see, like I said, a full switch in position here. No longer running the triple and instead going to have that Punisher. Cal, a very mean hit scan, can track like no one else, is going to find a couple picks in that fight. If you pull out the shotty there with Punisher, you get a ton of value as we will see that final judgment coming shortly. Adios going to be back on the Human Torch, which I do think is a strong pick in this season. Vest holding on to the Meteor M. Cooper, going to copy up and pull the dance floor out. Going to be a little bit better as it's slightly delayed in comparison to Nero's. Our energy holding on to the dance of the butterfly here as well. And here comes the eye. It finds a few on the Zelos. Can they clean it up? The Meteor not able to happen. Cal going to still take out Adios though as they're committing a ton in this fight. And it looks like Vest was not able to clutch up. It looks very close. Not sure what blocked that Meteor, but it was threatening for sure. And here comes the dance of the butterfly. Will it get value? Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, with Spark Chief and the damage boost, the Abyss able to connect onto two, and right now, I mean, they're sitting really low HP, nobody else really here. The cleanup is coming through, but right now, I mean, this is pretty much as far as you'd want to get for Team Envy. It's nearly halfway through the map, so for Team Envy, that is a huge push on their attack, and for Flyquest, I mean, they're going to have an excellent attack shib right now. I mean, they did play that Namor earlier, they did a good job with it, but I think maybe going back over to the Doctor Strange alongside that that Hulk could work better for them, even if, you know, Magneto theoretically is a better hero.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough look there. Obviously, a very strong Hulk player, but going in and getting that early pick, it just allowed so much free space. They walked right through it, and they did not let off the gas. Forced the teleport back in, and burning that teleport that early on an OT that has a minute on is just enough to win you that point. So, well played again by Envy, who looked really strong. And you're right, halfway through the map with a minute on is more than you could ever ask for. Flyquest, a minute 30, but that 30 seconds doesn't count for much. It just gives you a little more time for that TP. So, we will see what gets done. Will they be able to press this right back? Let's find out shortly.
Definitely have a good shot. Minute 30 to go. I mean, compositionally, they're looking at potentially changing things up. They had Adios on the Human Torch earlier. Invisible Woman also available for them if they do want that character, but they prioritize having Zelos on the Luna Snow alongside Cooper on that Loki. For obvious reasons, I mean, both these characters are incredibly good for both players, but I mean, that's such a daunting task to get halfway through the map with only a minute 30 in the time bank. I mean, they can do it. If any team can do it, it's definitely them. But right now for Envy, I mean, they're doing a good job playing around Cal and the Punisher. I think this swap over to that Punisher off of the Cloak and Dagger has resulted in a bit of a better game for them. Also, they don't really have to deal with a lot of those dive compositions. Incoming portal, though. Early Flyquest.
Yeah, it's going to be aggressive portal. It's going to wall off likely a teleport. They are going to own this height. Let's see what they do here. I was expecting to see. Oh, they are going to change off Strange. So that is the decision. Not a bad idea. Coming back in quickly with Venom while the entirety of the team pushes off the off angle. This is going to force eyes in two different directions. A very smart play. We talk about how set plays can be different, but when it's more meta level like this as a team. But as I'm saying, that window onto energy early, that is going to slow that pace heavily. Well done by Window on the first pick.
I mean, that's going to force Spark Chief away. I mean, he's getting pulled back towards the site. It's been tough because Month is now over to Invisible. Wow. The peel. Speedly's there as well. I mean, Spark Chief falls. 48 seconds left. I mean, the clock is dwindling now for Flyquest. And they're also stuck behind enemy lines. So if there's staggers to come through, that's brutal.
Yeah, this is a tough look here. 38 seconds on. It's going to be a final fight situation, and they need to touch. Vest says, I want to put this back in our favor. Down goes Speedery, and that is a necessity right now. Adios on a Month 2. How do they do it? Clutch up in this moment. No ultimates, a neutral fight, finding two immediate picks without the squad being fully here. Vest on a Kaluj now, and that's going to be a delayed takeout there of Strange. You might see the portal play at the last millisecond if they can touch. They have them in the alleyways. They are biding time. Will they elect to reset, and I think they do. I don't think they want to take this fight.
Yep, heading to the next phase of the map speedily as well. Unfortunately, was the one to go down there, so he's not going to be too close to ultimate necessarily. Full Shredder's ultimate's nearly available for Flyquest alongside that Supernova from Adios. There's going to be a very intense upcoming fight. I mean, every ultimate in the game is going to be up eventually at some point or another. Hopefully, for Flyquest, energy doesn't get picked again because that could be crucial moving forward.
And here we go in the next fight. Envy is up in ult advantage, but very close. Flyquest will be there at the same level as we see Audio, Spark, Zelos, and Cooper. Vest as well. Cooper going to use that dance floor, match it, and just try to buy some time. Force out a few ults as they miss a few. Envy. Window is going to miss. Window does clean that up, though, and finds Audios after the fact. Kaluge onto the back line, but will there be enough damage? Ooh, the Meteor to try to collide from Vest does not work out. We see the final judgment go out, and it does take out Vest early. I believe numbers up are up in Envy's favor. We got to see Adios get back here quickly and use this all, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't happen as Envy holds on and they take map 2.
Oh my God, back against the wall. Envy wins on Central Park to get their very first map in the series in the lower bracket, first round quarterfinals. So for Team Envy, massive win to get right now, considering, you know, it was so close to really ending up with them out of the tournament. Breath of fresh air right now for Envy. Maybe go outside for a second, right? Take a breather, because I mean, I'm feeling kind of, I was sweating during that game right there, Shib. I don't know about you. That was really intense, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, so back and forth. Look at the stat lines. It is insane. Energy, obviously, with 20 finals is wild to see. Incredibly strong Psylocke. I'm wondering if we'll see a change up there. They did manage to save that, so smart decision there, but it wasn't enough. I mean, I truly do think that OT play was just, you know, very strong by Envy. Finding that early pick onto the Hulk was game-winning for them. It bought them enough time and gave them a slight advantage. I also think the retake there, one thing in ladder, if you are down in OT and you already pushed past the first point, don't commit everything in the first point. You just have to win one fight. All that matters is you win one fight. So if you can retake position, you find a more advantageous defensive position, you're able to stack as a team again, drop back, just like you saw there from Envy, come back in and win one fight, commit everything for domination.
Ooh, Cocoa. I mean, I'm curious to see how this pans out. I think both teams are... Actually, Envy's been kind of not necessarily struggling on domination, but it's been hard for them. We've talked about how domination can be a difficult map type, right, to just play on in general and be consistent on. We'll see if Envy changes their bans, right, because in the first map, I mean, Flyquest did a fantastic job on Burn the T'Challa, really just to shut down Envy in their pushes. Alongside that Namor, they kind of got easy ultimates from Adios, so I'd be curious if that's the strategy again, play that Hulk Namor. And Envy, I wonder if they'll react, because Envy has shown they don't really do targeted bans. They kind of make generalized bans. I mean, they get rid of Wolverine a lot of the time. Sometimes they get rid of the Psylocke. Wolverine, again, another thing that Envy doesn't want to play around. And as we enter Cocoa, which is interesting, because I don't even necessarily think this is one of Wolverine's best maps.
It's more so just the presence, right? At this level of play, Wolverine just gets value out of so many different things. He's got distraction, he's got tanking capabilities, he's got, you know, if you do have that pocket with something like Ultron and Magneto Bubble, he's essentially another Vanguard. He is just a monster out there. If, you know, and obviously the Last Stand, let's not even forget about that, where you can just sweep entire teams. You essentially pick up a Vanguard and toss him back towards the strategist and get a 4-piece. So I understand the fear. I do agree that he, you know, maybe not the most Wolverine-friendly map. I think it's more so just don't allow them the opportunity to play it there and just take it off the battlefield, because you don't have a composition that you like running into it.
So yeah, to me, Envy's bans field is kind of generalized. I like the Mantis ban to get rid of like triple, right, with the Ultron and stuff. You could play it on your own side. We'll see what Flyquest opts into to banning or protecting. The problem is with banning, you know, the character that you obviously want, or sorry, protecting the character that you want to play around, especially ones with team ups and that synergize well. You want to be careful protecting them, because then, you know, on the opposite side, maybe they ban out the character that synergizes well with them. Meanwhile, group ban being hovered for Flyquest, getting rid of that character so they don't play it alongside that Storm and Magneto. But with that Storm protection, that means Punisher is potentially available for the side of Envy. They want to play it alongside that Ultron, so they have options for Flyquest. We know they can play with the Hulk Namor stuff, but also with Human Torch available, also the Psylocke Protect. We've seen they're prioritizing dives from Energy and Spark Chief.
Yeah, Flyquest won domination. They typically actually do a pretty good job in domination, at least as of late. So not afraid to just have that team fight battle. It is very heavily about this first fight, though. So I think they build these compositions with a ton of just raw, raw abilities, right? Like those neutral fight abilities. Loki, obviously, crystals, super important. Cooper, a disgusting Loki. Zelos likely playing Luna. I got to check bans again as we head in here to Krakoa, but very exciting. This is one of my favorite domination maps. Love to see it. We've seen a lot of Krakoa and a lot of Araco, actually sister sentient islands. So they actually, and when you actually look at Araco, we've had this discussion before, you actually see Krakoa. You may think it looks like Groot. It's actually Krakoa in sentient form, kind of looking a little bit like Groot, trying to head over there and help out the fam. So we will push in here off the rip on point 1. And I think one thing that Fly was doing off the rip was they were using that, electing to use that portal, or that, that penny armor. If you use the penny's additional mind spawner, you actually get 50 HP off of those packs instead of just the 25 from Rocket.
Kid, by the way, those two guys are us in game. We're actually in game talking about the game live to these players through their heads, right? They could hear us, surely, right?
That's it. Wasn't expecting them to show us. It was vulnerable in that moment, but there we go. Teleport off the rip to take space.
Panicking. That's where you were jumping around like a little boy. That was funny.
That's it. That's it. We see the teleport here from Vess, and that obviously is just to own this space. They're going to break down all these trees. Those trunks right there will actually not be breakable, so you can use those as fly cover. Speeder, you're going to try, to be doing that, as they will have the Invis shield, and Kalush finds Spark Chief early, and that is a good start here for the side of Envy, even though they had that portal used. So Flyquest heavily down now. Looks like Envy will take early, point priority, which, if you know domination, is a, heavily increases their odds.
I think the biggest thing is Envy has opened themselves up to a lot of options, right? They can play that Ultron composition if they want. They can play this Punisher and Storm. The biggest question, I think, for Flyquest is to dive or not to dive. And with grouping banned on the opposite side, where they banned it out, rather, that's not really a thing. But regardless, for Flyquest, the real thing is, can they set up Energy and Spark Chief right now, or do they go down to Speedily in the meantime? Because right now, what we saw on Aegis Path, Speedily has done a great job at shutting down Spark Chief and Energy. We'll see if we can keep it up.
Yeah, good space here again. It looks like Flyquest is kind of taking priority. They're still touching. That's all you need there for Envy. You just need to have one Vanguard on. Don't need to have the entire team in harm's ways. Like we talk about that natural cover. You look at the right side. As I'm saying that, you see the dive in from Adios, who's going to pop that ult. Will they find value here? Immediately using Supernova. Out goes the boundary to counteract, and the dance floor right back. But will they get value through? I don't know that they will. Window going to take out Spark Chief. That's another big pick there. Vess on the month, but Envy popping everything. Here comes the Hurricane matched here with Nero. Likely going to see a damage boost switch here shortly if need be. Will we see the switch? Not even necessary, as the whole team is going to be on top of the Eternal Bond there from Cloak. Energy and Adios. Zelos on the 2-piece, and that's going to be 3 for Energy. Well done again by Flyquest on the retake, who are down 60%.
I mean, the biggest thing there was Zelos connecting on that Terror Cape onto, I believe it was Month, in the middle of Nero's dance floor. So with that Terror Cape, you just got eliminated by Vess. And, I mean, yeah, what can you do? Really not a lot of counterplay to that Terror Cape except blocking with the shield or just straight up avoiding it. But it's so hard when you're just getting a giant rectangle thrown right at your face. So Zelos, fantastic work from him to keep the team alive as well, to get the point flip at 61%.
Okay, and here we go again. Envy slightly up in ult advantage, pretty much a neutral fight, but they do have the bubble for Cal. And this is where Punisher gets a ton more value. If you bubble your Punisher, give him that additional 300 HP to play with, he becomes far more threatening, and it's all about counters. Right now, Flyquest has no answer, and they are going to press forward. Do we see some picks here, forcing the entirety of the team off point, and that could be enough value in and of itself. And here comes Cap, just going to be dancing on the point, doing the Cap dance. The entirety of the team is going to follow in the wake to get that shield. Great play there to counteract and hold on, as Flyquest are looking seasoned and patient. Out goes that invisible boundary as well.
Yeah, I mean, Flyquest are one of the best teams at disengaging final judgment. Speedily also removed. That's so much damage gone. Kalush, you're looking for this Eye of Okamoto, but I'm sure the Flyquest is aware of it.
Yeah, and here comes Kalush again, trying to find some pressure. The dance floor is out, matched by both sides. Everybody out there doing their thing. Oh, and here comes the Eye again from Vess. Does land on a few. Will they be able to dunk return? Window almost with an off angle there. Would have been massive. Vest going to take out Cal and Mud. Spark Chief on a Speedery. Adios on a Window, and that is going to be a spawn door touch for the side of Envy. Well done, Flyquest on that sweep.
I mean, Envy on the re-engage. This is tough. I think every time Flyquest is ready to go on those dives, as well as you said, Vest connecting with a massive Ion Bagamoto. Window now over to the Venom, and that's, yeah, you got to make some switches at this point of the game. Cal, I think, off of the Punisher's fine, and here comes now Speedily in that Hurricane on the backside of the point.
That was a necessary start. Cal on Hella, about time. We haven't seen Hella in a while. Takes one. Speedery onto Zelos, and that's a great re-engagement there. They didn't force out everything they had. They will be looking for Cal and Kaluge in this next fight. Hopefully Month as well. Speedery going to clean up Adios at this point. You want to fall as a team and get ready for the next fight, as it is a one-fight game here as the teleport was burned. Kaluge is going to take this space there. Press forward, as you can see him up on the front side, but is going to elect to retreat to the team, as we might see. No, actually, we're not going to see a portal just yet from the side of Vest.
I think the biggest thing is that, you know, Punisher is pretty much Flyquest's perfect counter, or not counter, but perfect character to like to play against. Also, early ultimate committed by Energy on the right side, at least to force away Vanguards. But regardless, right now, Flyquest play so well around Punisher, so Cal over to the Hella, especially on such an open map like this, could be better and could actually find picks on the Flyquest.
Cooper takes out Speedery. Window back on Adioso, matched up on both sides, but being down Speedery is a big take, as Window is going to retreat to the team. Here comes Cal in the sky, being blocked here by Strange, and Cap at the same time. That's good value. We'll be able to press back in. You talk about Flyquest re-engagement being very strong. I think they do that really well, and here comes that re-engagement, but it is matched here. Month. Oh, canceled out as best. Tries to get the eye out. Great play there from Cal, which I believe hitting the mini stun, and that is a ton of value, back to 50% here for Vest, who is quickly getting that all charged back. Adios holding this space here with the tornadoes. Will it be enough for them to own this, as Spark Chief is down early?
Early pressure as well from Window on the backside. Just need to live, right? Allow time for Envy to find these picks. Here comes the Abyss as well.
Wow.
Oh, no! Wait, who didn't touch the point there? It was, in this case, Flyquest. They didn't touch. Envy win on the Grove.
Yeah, just kind of fell off as a team. Saw those alts played, and I think they committed a few in defense, but still not able to get the touch. Just kind of lost focus for a second, and that's all it takes.
My time to shine.
Whew. And oh my goodness, I mean, what a map from both teams, but Envy changing it up. I think the biggest thing is the Punisher change over to Hella. I mean, we've seen teams like 100 Thieves play Hella. We've seen also Cal be one of the best Hellas in the game. I mean, shout out to Amadian as well. Was another player who did so well on that hero versus Sentinels. So, you know, that character can do so much work as well. Cal, one of the best Hellas in the game, especially against Flyquest. Their dives, I mean, this Punisher hasn't really done too much, but they're going to switch back to Cal over to the Punisher. I'm curious to see if it works out, just considering Flyquest plays so well on this Punisher, specifically the Final Judgment, but Cal has not been the focus. It has been Speedily on that Storm.
Shout out to the observers and the team, though, just on everything, seemingly seeing every play here. I feel like we haven't missed a thing, as it's been so back and forth in these fights. But yeah, I mean, it seems like Flyquest just lost focus for a millisecond, and they did have, I think, yeah, they did commit a few ults at the very end there, and it just was not the right decision, unfortunately, as you lost sight of the point for a second. We do see I like this positioning here for the side of Envy, who, you know, we do see every team seemingly fighting vertical on this map, using that natural cover instead of more horizontal, where it seemingly is a little more open. It gives your Flyers this back line over here, essentially this giant like tombstone, as you see in the back there.
Yeah, I want to see how they play around this Eye of Agamotto. Incoming Fate of the Worlds, right? Pressing out Vest. Vest looking for it. Pretty obvious. Creating a lot of space so their supports and their strategists can kind of fall back. But nothing really gained in terms of eliminations. A lot of space for Kaluja set up on Agamotto. Catches out one onto Audio.
Oh my.
Are you kidding me? Who is that? That was Cooper. What a freeze.
That is a huge freeze. But Cal still turns it on two. Speedery onto Zelos. Cal 3-4. Cal saying, I'm not done. Pops off. Kaluge still able to find one, but what a freeze. It just didn't matter when you have Punisher there popping off and holding on to that Final Judgment, still ready for the next fight.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of times in this game, even if you do something crazy like get a good freeze, get a good sleep, hit a, you know, crazy eat, if you're a Magneto player onto like a Groot ultimate, sometimes it doesn't matter, right? The overwhelming presence of the team still matters. It is a 6 versus 6 game. These small interactions definitely kind of impact the overall game, but regardless, great push there from Envy after Nero committed his strategist ultimate. Flyquest double up on theirs for this upcoming fight. That should give them an advantage for sure.
Yeah, and we have the turret out there early, as it is, you know, not necessarily for all charges, just the AoE damage. Very good combination there with Invis shield, just to try to force out the team's positioning, making something happen like that Venom charge there. But he got the entirety of the clip out before they push forward. Adios trying to take this space back. Flyquest heavy up an alt charge here. Envy slowly gaining as the invisible does pop. They see Cal holding on, waiting for the final moment to use that final judgment, as it gets a lot more value as enemies are out in the open, or it's much more value when they're close, especially with that shield. But the entirety of Fly gonna clean up before they can use those ults. Envy, I think, just being a little too patient there, not using some big ults, and they pay for it as Energy just sweeps the backline.
I mean, the difficulty is, like, how do you win that fight, right? You don't have Stratus ultimates. Those are the strongest ultimates in the entire game, right? Cooper committing the fate of the world, just walking on forward. Envy, the only real counter is there is maybe Kalush hits a crazy eye motor or something, but he just walked on, had no HP, was in pressured situations, and now Energy, oh no! The assassination of Speedily before they could even take the portal. Vess and him combined.
Yeah, again, Flyquest, you can see them getting a little angry here and starting to make plays. Cal, though, early on in these fights, just tracking like a champion, is able to find one there and even out the odds a little bit, but here comes that final judgment out. But I don't know if it's oh, as I say that, good positioning by Cal, still able to look at a few, but no, great retake again. Flyquest just drops out, comes back when the moment's right, and here comes the engagement from Spark Chief, holding on to that Feast of the Abyss here, ready to make a play towards the back line, and the Hurricane gets popped again, Speedery, and we see Vest doesn't land, and dots towards the back line, not able to get any value, does force out some cooldowns and a strategist ultimate from Nero, but it isn't enough. Ooh, nice meteor again, window, good play, and Kalush able to find Spark Chief, and Envy now at 98. I don't know if they're gonna be able to hold. I think that's it.
Oh my god, Energy tried to touch last second, but he could not. And man, what a mistake from Flyquest. I mean, they went towards Speedily, like the whole team, and then they just left the point behind. So Envy just were like, okay, I'll take the point and pop final judgment. So, I mean, what a bad play there, honestly, from Flyquest towards the very end. And right now, that's what it is, right? In these high-pressure situations, Envy take another map, right? Kind of coming through in the clutch like the veterans they are for Flyquest. They need to kind of go back to the drawing boards for map number 5 because Envy, they're sort of maintaining a little bit of that momentum, like you said, Shib, right now, coming back in the series. And it's kind of right now like a matter of which team makes like less mistakes, honestly, because Flyquest, that is a rookie mistake, unfortunately, from their team to just give up the point. They did find Speedily, but you know at what cost? We saw that earlier as well on Aegisil. I know that they still wanted Aegisil, but they kind of left Energy to find Nero on the back line. He was getting kind of bullied towards the spawn, but at points it didn't matter because even if Energy found those picks, he was taking themselves out of the fight. Vess and Energy, or Vess and Adios in that case, took themselves out of the fight, and you know they resulted in losing objective, losing those anchors, and right now they kind of need them. And map number 5 is coming up, and oh, I'd be a little worried if I was a Flyquest fan right now.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Cal making that switch there to Punisher, and now, again, leading final hits in that fight. You see Flyquest, they looked really good across the board. Cal, definitely up there in terms of damage in finals, most across the board besides damage from Adios, but 15-3, and, you know, the 4-piece metal just cleaning up teams there in the neutrals, finding picks early in every fight. I think you got to get rid of the Punisher, or you try to get rid of Get Home.
What better map to do it on than Morocco? Right now, you know, it's so fun to look at the draft phase and stuff and the protect phase, but you know, I think we can both agree, Shib, at the end of the day, if you don't play well, it doesn't matter, you know, the draft or whatever, especially if you have even draft kind of across the board. So realistically, playing well is key number 1. You can't really blame the draft on everything. I know a lot of players do tend to do that. You know, it's easy to be just like, oh, I'm coping. You know, this draft was the reason we lost. But sometimes it is just poor gameplay. So right now for Flyquest and Envy, they're looking to lock in on Morocco. And we see a lot of teams kind of struggle sort of towards this like first point, but they can snowball in the attack phase. Definitely a defensive favored map, this one, right, Shib?
Absolutely. I mean, the ban phase is the new strategist. If you lose a game, you might as well blame it right on the ban phase instead of who usually takes the blame, the strategist. But we are gonna, I think we're gonna see a tight hold here, probably triple, as we have seen holds from both sides before with Groot up on the front side and no Groot ban yet. So I'm assuming we'll see that combination for sure, which bought a ton of time for both of these teams in the past.
And Doctor Strange ban again, like did on was that map number 1 or 2? I think it might have been
2. I believe it was 2. Yeah.
Getting rid of the Strange, so that's interesting as well. And Flyquest also hasn't really pulled out the Groot either. I mean, they've shown at least on Morocco that they can play that hero. Same thing for Envy on their side. Flyquest, I think, banned out the Groot last time. We'll see what the Protect comes through. Mantis ban comes out from Envy as well, making sure no triple strategist is available for Flyquest. Although I don't know if we've really seen them play it at all or too much, I suppose. But here's the Storm Protect again to make sure Speedily gets the heroes that he wants.
Yeah, and I stand corrected. It was map 1, but yeah, I'm curious about that. It's got to be the worry of Vest slaying a big ult, or you want to allow Kaluge just to be a little more free without double shield out there. It's got to be something along those lines. But it has been, it's working. So we will see. And by one, I meant the previous map prior, but. We will see a change up here, but in terms of composition, it looks like Envy's not going to be changing too much besides Cal on the Wolverine.
I forgot also with that Doctor Strange ban, that allows Ultron to get through. So is this the first time in the series they let Ultron get through? I don't think so, but it might be. It might be. For Flyquest, though, they will be playing the Ultron, obviously, considering that character is not banned, or, I mean, it's available. They want it.
And one of my favorite new maps, and the pros seem to really enjoy it as well, Araco, a very defensible map, but we have seen a lot of teams push through all the way to 2.3, a few of which getting the entirety. But look at this breakdown of the betting. When it's dead even like this, it's tight. Envy now slightly up, and what a change from a few maps back. And I am excited to see the start here, as we have seen almost full holds here out of the spawn door. We'll see if the teams want to try that strategy. And we've also seen a portal play here where teams try to hold that top right alleyway, that hallway where Strange will actually portal off both sides, and then the entirety of the team will try to run down that choke, as you do see Krakoa here on your right side pressing forward to try to stop Ultron from messing with the family.
Triple Vanguard as well speedily gets deleted. I mean, Cal's also over to the Moon Knight alongside Window being on that Squirrel Girl. We've seen Flyquest do something similar with the Squirrel Girl. Haven't seen too much Moon Knight with this composition, but can work as well around speedily with that Solo Vanguard. But they all are on that one side of the map, right? Flyquest well aware of it, kind of playing around it right now with an off angle on Energy. We've seen how well Flyquest can play those off angles on Araco.
Yeah, I think right now it seems like they're just doing the Buster comp. They're just trying to get out of this door. So that Moon Knight and Squirrel, I like that change. I think it's really smart as the thing. Great retreat there. Way to get back to the team. Is going to reset and give that 30% damage reduction. I believe it's 30, either 30 or 25 after the recent change. Immediately, Eternal Bond goes out here. That's going to be good for Flyquest just to hold on. Zelos going to find Cal and Window with Cooper in the copy as well. So both of those bonds actually were committed. No, actually, the Zelos, did not commit it, as they are at ultimate now.
Cal's over to Wolverine. Window's now over to the Groot, getting off the Squirrel Girl. And Flyquest might be one of the best teams at doing this first point hold, right? They have such a big area to work with. Those off angles on Magneto are disgusting. Audios now comes in through with Ultron's Rage.
Yeah, forcing out crystals early and the dance floor. That is value right there. Audio still holding on. Able to get a slight amount of healing through that ultimate just to buy some time. Out goes the Eternal Bond. The Strangling Prison onto the backline, but shields are up. Can they find value through it? They can, as 4 go down. One and all there by Vest. Great Strangling Prison. And like we're talking about, Flyquest on these early holds are insane.
Right now, Envy might be going out of the tournament with not even a whimper. So we'll see how they do this. Wait, did Vest DC as well? Oh, geez, on the backside, though, it doesn't matter because now Speedily coming in with the Hurricane. They're able to find Spark Chief early on. I mean, no Stratus Ultimates as well to deal with it. They do have Crystals to stay alive for a little bit longer, but eventually, I mean, truly they'll falter even with the Meteor Ram now here.
Speedery Window, that's going to be enough to get them out this door, and that is the momentum shift that they needed, as Flyquest now are going to have to retake, and the pause goes out for that DC. Very unfortunate timing there for Fly, but it was a great hold off the rip, and hopefully bought them enough time if you're Team Fly to hold on point 1.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, man, it's cursed. It's cursed. Marvel Rivals Ignite is cursed. Things like this can happen right in an online series, but 2 minutes left to go. First point. I mean, what a hold from Flyquest there, like you said, Shib. So right now that could definitely sort of result in them getting another hold in this phase. I think it does favor that attacking side a little bit more, depending on how Flyquest plays this re-engage with the cover and stuff, and with Triple Vanguard. Envy now also built up towards that last stand, so there's a lot of ultimates available for them. Unfortunately, no Stratus ultimates were built in that previous fight, so that's kind of why Flyquest lost alongside Vest going down. More than likely, that still would have been the result of it, but regardless, now you got those Stratus ultimates ready to go, Shib, on this re-engage, and that's going to allow Flyquest to finally win a fight, but it's going to be tough versus that Wolverine, in which Cal's honestly been doing good, flexing over to that Wolverine, right, off of a lot of that hit scan roll, and also having to come in while maybe a little bit cold after NK played the first 2 maps, right?
Yeah, that's a sign of somebody who just wants to go in. There's that conversation in sports that you want to, put me in, coach. The people that want the playing field the most are typically the ones that shine the most in the moment. Cal clearly wanted to get in there and play and has showed up ever since. Obviously, starting off on strat, maybe not his strongest position, but that switch over to duelist has been invaluable. And I do think I agree that when you go against a group like this with that Wolverine, it is so difficult to stay up, especially if you don't make that switch to invis, because those pulls are invaluable, and it just allows an early pick every time without the utilization of an ultimate. He is just such a strong hero right now. Logan, a demon against the tree.
And Logan can be disgusting, like you mentioned, and I can relate to that. Shib, by the way, since we're on this little break, obviously, waiting for the game to kind of come back online, I've been wondering, Shib, if we did get to see you in a cosplay of a certain hero besides a maid. I know I've seen your emotes in the chat. I know that there's a lot of I Run Shib fans, the little Twitch fans. Shout out to you guys in the chat, spamming his emotes in your little maid cosplay.
Right.
But I'm just saying, who would you cosplay if we did go to, potentially an event and we got to see you dressed as a hero?
It's a tough one, man. Blonde hair, blue eyes. I mean, it's close to, it's close to Clint Barton in here. I guess that would probably be the closest one I could do. Pulling out the bow a little bit. I could see something like that. What about yourself?
I could see that. Yeah, that would definitely work. I don't know. It's tough. I asked my chat before, and I'm kind of afraid to admit it. A little sad. It's unfortunate. I asked them. I was like, "Oh, hey guys, if I did wear a costume, what would you want?" And they're like, "Man, you should go as Rocket Raccoon because of the height." I was like, "Okay, thanks." I was like, "Okay, who next?" "Oh, Wolverine because of the height." I was like, "Oh, okay, guys, that's great. That's awesome. What about next?" "Oh, Jeff because of the height." So I'm like, "Okay, guys, come on, can we please? This is so BM." Listen, I'm huge, 7 foot tall, all right, massive. You see me, Shib? I'm a unit.
That's it, dude. Metaphorically, definitely, for sure.
Metaphorically, huh? Metaphorically, he said. Okay, all right.
That's brutal. Nah, man.
Might have to go a little bit of Napoleonic syndrome on you, buddy. I might have to go a little angry, short guy syndrome. I get mad like Wolverine does. You don't want me to pull out these claws, buddy. You don't want me to pull out these claws or these 9mm handguns.
Nailed it with the Wolverine there, brother. It sounds like they nailed it, so they're all over it. But no, that's actually hysterical. I'm sure the chat.
What do you mean nailed it? Hold up.
No, I'm sure the chat is saying things like Emma for both of us right now, just to troll us a little bit.
Emma, that's what I see. That's what I was saying. I was like, maybe we get you that little cross section in the middle, with her gala dress. I could see you as that. That would go hard. Not gonna lie.
Oh man, it's funny stuff, man. I'm funny stuff. As we are actually, it's the reality, man. Right? We're actually getting to these events. This stuff is happening. So, obviously we want to be there. I hope we're there. It's gonna be a ton of fun to be a part of it, or even just witness it. Lands are totally new ball game. Finally settling that score between regions, right? We talk about, everybody stands up for the region, is super passionate. Everybody who may be a fan of various teams here will unite as one to try to, take down whoever we may be going against in the moment, whether it's EMEA. What do you mean, the States?
You bias, Shib?
Well, as the States is what I'm saying. For
as the States.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm only.
You're saying you'd be rooting for the American teams in an international event. Is that what you're saying right now live? You want to say to the camera?
I'm driving the car down the highway and you're just yoinking the steering wheel on me into the side of the post here. No, but
absolutely. It could be Switzerland. I will be anyway. We're going into it now. It's Flyquest. We have 2 minutes left in the map. We're getting back into it. Luckily the pause is over. Vest looks like he's back online.
Yeah, Envy heavy up in alt charge here too, as you see. Window, Cal, and Nero ready to launch. Cooper going to be the only one, as Vest is going to have to respawn here. Cal finding that early pick. We didn't even get to check it out. Nice off angle there. Waiting for that play. Yeah, that's a brutal takedown early, as this corner is very defensible. It may be far less defensible now as we push into the minute left on the first point.
Yeah, flank play always available now on that. What a eat of the Groot ultimate. It's strangely present across the map, but they can't find the eliminations. That might have been too greedy.
Yeah, that's a good start there, and it's now match right back and forth out on the dance floors. Cal did not get much with the last stand just yet. The dance floor and Eternal Bond match on either side. Good tackle out of the sky on Energy, and that is a good escape, but he still does not get away. Cal, good follow-up there without having to burn an ult. That is another advantaged fight going on the side of Envy, and they will be down a few now. Can they get the retouch? Not sure it'll happen, as they are going to give up point one.
Yeah, this is the problem we've seen. Like, I'm curious to see what happens moving forward, but Wolverine does so well on this map. Cal as well can play that hero to such a high level. On top of that, I mean, teams tend to get snowballed, it feels like, after first point. I mean, these middle phases of the map, the second phases, teams tend to not really, I'm not going to say not struggle with, but it feels like if you get like one fight, maybe like a really rough second fight. So right now, teams in the middle phase of the map kind of don't really do that well, but we'll see how Flyquest does in this defensive hold. They've been solid so far. We're looking over at EMEA, though. We've seen teams snowball and even cap out the full map with not a lot of time in the bank in that second phase of Araco.
Yeah, what do you think? I think the offensive side, the reason it's a little more, more aggressive on this, as we see immediately strangling Prison. Are they able to follow up on it? Not quite yet. We do see the Bond out to just slow things up a little bit. Out goes the Tornadoes. Do they land? And they do. Down goes Speedery early. Nice follow up there as Kaluj is very low as well. This could be enough for the retake of Fly to kind of hold on, still having ult advantage in the next fight. Flyquest needed this momentum shift as they were looking to be in a little bit of a dicey position. But as I say, that month with the copy is going to get the dance floor moving, buying some free space as the team is able to retake this position. As I was saying, on the offensive side, there's essentially 3 lanes here. The height on the left, down main, and then off the right in the, oh wow, not enough charge there onto Luna. Cal going to clean up Vest though, and Envy once again with an advantage going into this next fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's finding pick after pick right now as everybody from Flyquest is sort of funneling towards that objective. I mean, 2 more going down. It's kind of what I talked about. I don't know. Teams just struggle in this reach phase. You're asking kind of like, what's the reason for that? It just feels like in this map specifically, the attackers have some angles, but also and you have so much cover to work around, as well as just playing against Wolverine against, like, there's so many entrances you can kind of go through. There's only so many entrances you can kind of go through. And by the way, portal block as well. So we're not even getting a retouch. What a block by Kaluj, heading to the 3rd phase of the map now because of said portal block. And look at that tree grow.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, don't give Kaluj Strange. Just disgusting. What a decision. Honestly, I totally forgot you could do that at this point of the map. I haven't done it myself. That's something to take in the ladder for sure. Great portal off there as the team was trying to hold off together. It was just too little too late. Not able to get back on that point. Adios immediately going to use that Ultron's Rage, forcing them back in the spawn door. Cal going to find Spark Chief. There's a little off map over there in that corner and makes it happen. Cal on this Wolverine, like you said, is just getting value every single fight and doesn't even have to use that last stand. Out goes Speedery, utilizing that Hurricane, dropping a few. Down goes Zelos, and wow, Envy has just figured something out here after map 2.
Yeah, I know people talk about those portal blocks and how they maybe shouldn't be in the game and stuff, but realistically, the only real solution, I think, is maybe add like more doorways and stuff, so you can kind of go to different angles. But regardless, Energy popping the Supernova, forcing out a Strategist ultimate from Envy right now, who have a lot of ultimates to work with. Aya Wakamoto results in Cooper going down to Nero's clap.
Yeah, good work there. I wasn't sure it got a ton of value, but, that's why they are the pros. Good value again on the pick, and they will keep walking forward. Dropping a strategist early like that is huge. And we do see a retake. Energy kind of in an off angle here from behind. Does have that Ultron drone, giving him the space needed to be aggressive. Kaluj there. That's what I was talking about against Flyers. Take that height, wall off the zone, and essentially be the shutdown you need to see. And that is good positioning. Up we go here. Vest trying to throw the Meteor Ram on a Month. Down goes Month. Good value again. Nice find early from Vest. Cal turns that right back. What do you know? Cal again. Vest on a Speedery. Cal again on the Energy with a 2-piece. Back and forth as the numbers are dwindled down to 4v4. Ult advantage going to be on the side of Fly as Spark Chief is going to use that Freedom Charge. Get tackled again by Cal. It is so consistent. Somebody stop this guy. Logan is built different. Just the unstoppable Wolverine.
Yep. Short guy popping off. Typical. What can I say? Envy, though, I mean, Nero ran away from Spark Chief with the Freedom Charge. Could not catch up to Nero getting back to spawn. Regardless, 40 seconds left to go. Flyquest right now finally finding some sort of ground. First point, it went so well for them, and then it's kind of been collapsing. So they need some semblance of a defense right here as we enter basically last fight window as well. Over to that Hulk off of his original hero. Maybe trying to create a little bit more space. Maybe throw that fastball in as well as Cal.
Yeah, nice stall. 20 seconds on. This is going to be for all the marbles. Out goes the Hurricane again. This will burn right through those crystals, and it's electing to drop backward. Did not force out too much, and as I say that, out goes the Bond. It did, so they will hold on. Here comes that Hurricane. Immediately, the Supernova, but it's counteracted by the Eye. Do they get picks through it? Speedery finds Adios, and that's a good start here for Envy, who are using everything in this fight. Speedery onto Zelos, Cal onto Vest, Speedery onto Envy. and this could be it as they shove through again. Down goes Spark. In OT we go, but will they be able to touch, or will this end as a 3-stack push? It does. Well done, Envy.
What a push by them. And then also I like the idea as well to swap to that Hulk. Just go for that fastball special. We've talked about how strong it is. A lot of teams are now realizing in this patch how amazing Wolverine has been alongside Hulk or the Thing, because you can just yeet that guy in there and he'll be, grab a flyer out of the sky. He'll kind of do whatever and fly around the map. So definitely teams utilizing that team up so well, and Envy doing well even without that, right? They had Cal on that Wolverine just kind of running in, able to find those eliminations onto Vanguards. And overall, what a push from Team Envy, right? After they were pretty much almost first point held, they capped out the map, and that's what we kind of talked about. I talked about it earlier, how you just get snowballed sometimes, and in a game like Marvel Rivals, that can kind of happen. No matter how well you play on that first point, it's a 3-phase game, especially on, or at least on these convoy maps. So right now, for Flyquest, they need to kind of lock it in. I'm curious. I don't know why they're not playing really much of this like Namor Hulk stuff. I get, why you want to play this triple strategist, but it seems like the survivability is not a problem necessarily for them. It's just like the front line is not able to stay alive through all that damage that is brought by Wolverine. I mean, he just does so much percentage damage that you can't really live, right, Chib?
Yeah, and now we're going to see, you talk about a shift up here for Fly. We are going to see another bunker buster comp, as we are going to see, we got the Squirrel Girl out there, we got the Punisher and the damage boost here from Storm, and they're just going to try to delete some of these walls that'll be in front of them. The walls are actually positioned on the right side, forcing them out this left door. Good decision here for Envy on the defense, but Fly playing hyper aggro, pushes right through that choke, and here comes the damage boost. Now it's all about, and another damage boost there with Cloak, and that's the combination you're scared of when you have a Punisher on the opposition. That double stacking damage boost with Punisher unloading is terrifying to go against, and say goodbye to every group wall that's placed, as they are shoving through Vest here on the Squirrel Girl, just trying to get that ult charge. 46% already, but you look over on the strat line, Cooper at 80, 92, 94, already almost ready to ult here. Adios at about 66. Speedery has ult here at 92. Energy taking out Speedery early. Spark onto Kaluge, and that is a good way to get out of that spawn door.
Yep, that works for sure. We'll see if they want to swap off of it. Vest going to stay on the Squirrel Girl for now, but more than likely going to run back to spawn and swap, unless they're totally fine playing another fight. It looks like they are. They're willing to go again, even though Envy more than likely going to switch up their composition a little bit, but they do have the TP. Never mind, they will stay on the strategist, and here comes the ultimate from Speedily.
Yeah, I like the idea, but immediately Energy finds Speedily. Vest with double with the Squirrel Girl. Energy finds Cal, and that is going to be a huge sweep there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they'll stay on the triple Vanguard to portal back. Can't believe I forgot about that. Energy also speed boosting him back to the spawn, by the way. Helping out your team is what you want to do in this game. Kind of give them that speed boost like other games, maybe. Just give them a little bit of that taxi. Regardless, Envy now pushing towards the end. Kind of similar time bank that we saw for the side of Envy, or rather, Flyquest now ending up with a similar time bank to Envy on their attack. So kind of interesting how both teams have been in a similar situation, though. Envy playing with that triple Vanguard, tossing in the Strangling Prison from Sparky. He's the one that actually fall, though.
Adios popping the Judgment, doesn't find value, forces out a lot of cooldowns in the dance floor, but no picks there as Adios uses that Q. Nero going to match it, month and window ready. Cal very close. Kaluge at around 36, not quite there yet. There goes the Strangling Prison, tries to throw the wall behind. Speeder, you're going to clean up Zelos. Cal onto Cooper, and that does work out for them on the defense with 2 minutes on.
Yep, 2 minutes on. Zelos not wanting to commit an ultimate, understanding one of the duelists of his team was down in terms of energy, so just go for that reset, go for another fight. Also, Flyquest does have still 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go. Envy, though, do have Month and his ultimate against double Strategist ult. Cal on the Meteor M could be huge, but I wonder how much time Cal even has. Like you said, he's been flexing over to so many different Vanguards. Meteor M is available for him, and oh my god, early damage coming through from Energy, on Energy.
Yeah, then we are seeing Q spot for days. Cal gonna find Cooper there. Excuse me, Speedery on Adios here now, and that's a nice trade back as we see numbers up heavy for Envy, and they are walking this right back, right towards the spawn door. Flyquest going to hold on here and not use anything, not overcommit, as they will have ult advantage in the next fight. They got to do it quickly before Nero gets that dance floor. Month obviously popping ult there. It's going to be in their favor. Vest is looking for this Meteor, and Vest has been electric with these Meteors in this tournament. It's all about, can he get value here now, because this is where it matters. You got a minute on. You got to take this first point, get momentum back in your favor. You had it in the beginning on defense. You need to find it again, or you are looking to be in trouble as we get to this OT.
I mean, you're against triple Vanguard with no damage boost, right? You don't have that Cloak and Dagger. You don't have the Storm. You don't have a Mantis. So for Envy, this is actually a solid spot to be in, right? They're just able to live, have so much health pool to work around. Flyquest need to have a really good ultimate combination, but they're already forced to use greens.
And here comes the Eye of Agamotto, and that's going to stop before we even see. Oh, nice pick off there from Speedery, and that makes it worth it. Down goes Vest as well, and we're going to have to see a teleport here if possible. Smart Chief not even able to get that Q off as we don't see the Strangling Prison. It's just going to be a stagger fest now.
They can't portal, right?
Oh, yeah,
got banned.
Yep, they are in so much trouble here. It's all about Energy's touch.
Oh my god, it might be over. Overtime. Spark Chief tossed down ultimate. We're entering last fight territory. Flyquest might be out of the tournament. One of the favorites to win it all. Could be sent home out of the loser brackets right now.
Oh my goodness. Cal on the Magneto. We talk about the switch in all the different positions. Cal able to play Mag, finding multiple picks here. Teleport through to try to get to the high side. Going to land right back in. And that's a crazy angle. I like that play there. Speedery, and that could be enough, folks. I think that Envy has done it. They have taken the reverse sweep and will move forward towards LAN and the 70K prize. What a set of plays and what a return of momentum by Envy.
What a heartbreaker, too, for the Flyquest fans. I mean, up 2 in the series, about to close it out and to get reversed swept by Envy, who look to be just getting stronger. I mean, it's crazy that Cal was on the bench for the first 2 maps, comes through on the sub-in and just wins every single time, whether it be on Magneto, whether it be on Wolverine, whether it be on, you know, Cloak and Dagger. Feels like that guy definitely doesn't deserve, or definitely gets not enough credit for this team as Cal just coming and being that ultimate flex player. And the bans on the Wolverine ended up to just panning out, right? You get that last map, you play triple Vanguard around speedily on that Storm, so you get that damage boost for basically everybody. Kaluj does so much work onto Doctor Strange with that damage boost, as well as pretty much everybody else on the roster. And since it's Cal coming in. What's up, Cal? How you doing, man? Congrats coming in off the bench. I mean, how you feeling after that matchup? I mean, reverse sweep as well. What an insane series that was from you and your team.
I mean, that's what I do. Come on now. I'm in 0-2. Didn't lose a map today.
That's it, man.
My team did, but I didn't.
For sure. I gotta ask, like, the question around you know, was it a you conversation? You said I wanted in, or was that like you set maps? How does that work? Were you rotating back into from the bench?
I mean, looking at our last matches, I've definitely been underperforming like a lot. I've been playing very poorly, and my teammates didn't really trust me in a way, but it was like granted, as I just wasn't playing good, like, at all. Like every match I'm getting gapped. I'm just playing very poorly. And after the first map, I DM'd the coach. I was like, if you put me in, I will carry. Sorry. I said I will carry. I will bring us home. And then we were like, let's just see map 2. We saw map 2, and then we had a little chat, and I was like, I will perform. And point in case.
Love it.
Fair play. I mean, yeah, point proven. And on that, Cal, I mean, how do you have that mentality when, you know, like for I'm sure you know, aspiring pros, aspiring, you know, people coming into the esports scene, how do you maintain that mental, right, when you're on that bench, like you said, especially if you're not having a good week? I mean, how do you sort of rebound, you know, take that psychological change coming into today, like you said, and kind of get that sort of burning passion that I'm sure you have?
I kind of took it not personally in a way. I just thought, like, I need to be performing better, not just for myself, but for the people that support me, my teammates, and like give them all I got. So like being benched, I wasn't really too upset about it. I just thought, just head on the grindstone, get back to it. And I had somebody really help me out with all that and write a bunch of stuff down, think about stuff during matches. And coming in today, I was just like, I will perform if I play. And I'm very thankful for my team for trusting me.
Yeah, I saw you switch. You ran Punisher a ton. It looked clean, man. You were finding neutral picks a ton, which, you know, is something I would expect from you. I like what you mentioned. You were struggling at first, and you wanted the ball, which I think it could make a team run through a brick wall, which you guys did, right? So you bounced back. But I saw you switch to Hela for a moment and make the switch right back to Punisher. You had that discussion with me that you thought Hela was still better. Do you still believe that?
It just matters, like, I guess, what they're playing. I think defaulting on Punisher is definitely better, and that's like kind of why I swapped back to it. Me and Kluge kind of had a chat going into the second round of that domination of what I should be on, and none of us really knew. And then me and Kluge were just like, just start Punisher. If Hela looks good, I'll play it. But into dive tanks, it's kind of the character's not bad, but it's less support than Punisher for your teammates. So we just decided we were just gonna stick with that.
No, and that would make sense for sure. And, you know, I think in terms of this patch, in terms of how things have kind of gone for you guys, are things sort of shaping out for Team Envy right now? Are you sort of getting that identity? Like, what are you feeling on this patch? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of prioritization towards Storm, getting rid of Wolverine. What did it feel like, I think, on that last map as well, playing Triple Vanguard, you having to go to the Magneto? Did it feel like a sure thing after the fact that, you know, they didn't have a Storm, they didn't have damage boost potential or anything like that? What, did it just feel like you guys were, you know, pretty far ahead? What's your overall thoughts of playing Triple Vanguard, especially against no Wolverine?
Wait, did we play Triple Vanguard? Oh yeah, we did.
So you played Triple
defense,
Vanguard, two strategists, and then you played Speedily.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of Mickey Mouse. It's kind of cheese, but I think 2-2-2 is the way to go. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it worked out, and I think it'll always work out just because it's cheese, and even if you expect it, there's not really much you can do about it. So, I don't know, just cheese. Better.
I saw the Magneto. It looked clean at the end there too. Clearly been practicing that as well. So is that something that you only pull out with triple, or are you just ready to play any role, it seems like?
Never played Magneto in a match, I don't think. that was my first time. I was going to play Captain America like I did yesterday, and then we were just like, okay, just play Mag. And then, I mean, you saw it. Hit every ult. Good for one every fight.
You know? You're balling, man.
I do feel bad
really
though.
Well done.
It had some internet issues, some power issues. That definitely helped us. I feel bad about that. It's very unlucky, very unfortunate.
Yeah, online happens. Online happens. It's tough in a big tournament like this, but I'm sure, you know, Flyquest, those guys definitely going back to it and, you know, looking back at this tournament, I'm sure they'll have a lot to talk about going into the next Ignite series. But that does push you guys forward, right? Obviously, one man's loss is another man's gain. And for you, Team Envy, you will be moving into the next round. You got to win 2 more again to win LAN. I mean, Cal, obviously, you guys are sort of kind of rebounding, right? The rubber band, sort of what Flyquest did in the group stages. Are you looking to sort of emulate that and kind of come back through and get revenge? Because obviously, losing the Techies, not losing Techie, losing upper bracket to Sentinels is tough, but we know Sentinels is a good team. How are you guys feeling moving forward?
I mean, I'm going to China one way or another. We're getting there.
Love the energy. Absolutely. It seems, and that's what you need, right? I think it's the confidence, momentum, and you had that last few times I talked to you. It looked like you're struggling a little bit, but and it looked really clean today. I got to ask one final thing. Anyone you want to shout out, teammates, thanks? Anyone you want to call out as we say goodbye to you?
Definitely my coach, Gator, for trusting me and putting me in map 3 there, and my teammates for still trying their best even though we're down 2, and even though I've been underperforming stuff, them really putting their trust into me. I really don't deserve it, but I hope to keep going ever upwards.
Awesome. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you as always, man. At this point, I see you on screen all the time when you guys take the W. I will see you very soon. Great work out there, and we'll see you in your next series.
Thank you very much.
All right.